I don't know how you do it, but I give you so much, and you take everything, everything, everything away. I'm a wreck with a face on using you as a crutch. Feeling anything ends up just going to waste. Come with me down, down to the bottom of the pile. I'll be sitting pretty, painting on a smile. You tell me all the things I want to hear, but when my back's against the rope, she starts to whisper in my ear. You'll never be good enough. You'll never be strong enough. Maybe just give it up. I think you're done, done, done. You'll never be this enough. You'll never be them enough. Baby, there's no one who cares enough. You're on your own. I don't know how you do it, but I give you so much, and you take everything, everything, everything away. I'm a wreck with a face on using you as a crutch. Feeling anything ends up just going to waste. In my head is where you made a bed but never go to sleep. Instead you dance around my dreams. Everything you say, it takes a space inside my brain. A messy party that no one wants to.
Great stuff. The Girl Who Cried Wolf there, that was a tune that we played into tonight's intro. Absolutely brilliant. Been listening to that all week. Just as much listening to this album. Run the Jewel, we're doing this RTJ4. Our first hip hop album. Got the Adidas on and everything tonight, so I'll have just to go with that. Andy, how are you?
I'm alright, how's things?
I was going to say, you've got your bonnet on as well, but we can just dress like this every week, don't we?
Just dress like this every week. This is
the ninth appearance.
The lockdown here.
Oh man, this is going to be mental. You've got a delay.
A hover?
Yeah, I'm going to say, I'm going to just count like 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant, like we did at school in primary, and see when you come in with 4. 1 elephant, 2 elephant, 3 elephant,
4 elephant.
Oh, for fuck's sake! We just need to.
Right, I'll.
You're a wee bit behind us.
What I'll do is I'll come out and come back in. So you introduce everybody else, and I'll come back in, right?
Yeah. Just,
okay.
Just keep. Is it that Acorn Electron you're using tonight? Anyway, Tommy, how are you?
I'm all right. Scott. Andy was coming through all right to me, so I don't know if it's maybe your end.
Oh, was he?
But
no, it's.
He counted 4 straight away for me. But anyway, he might come back.
Did he, aye? All right, it might be me then. Okay. But I'm never rang.
No, you're never rang. No, you're not. If I'm coming through all right, it must be Andy. So we'll move on.
Okay then, so what about this album this week? A wee bit of hip hop, Tommy. Did you play that much in your shows?
Totally out of my cut. I did play a bit. I do play a bit because I did get some stuff sent. Audrey sent me a few things, and people that she's worked with in her studio have also sent me stuff through. You know, so it's I play a wee bit, but it's no my go-to music. So it was something a bit different for me this week. I enjoyed it. It. It's kind of making me think in the songs in a different way. You know, so. Yes, definitely. I enjoyed it. Definitely a good album.
Me too. As I said in the green room there, it takes you back to kind of older hip hop, you know, which was good. When I heard we were doing a hip hop album, I was thinking, oh no Drake, but Andy's back. Nice. Hi Andy.
Yo.
Nice to see the voice in the background as well there, Andy.
The voice in the background, aye.
Real music.
The wife's watching, you know.
I know, you've no turned for that pair lassie. She's sitting there singing away and you're still got your back to the telly.
I know, it's terrible, mate. It's virtual judging's murder.
Right, so we've got a great guest this week. Do you want to see her in action?
Aye.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, there she is. Audrey.
You caught me out with that one. I was like, what?
How long ago was that?
As well. Well, I'm hanging up my drumsticks. That's me. Why? That's a real drummer on the show now.
Right, Tommy.
That was a while ago, aye.
Don't know how to put this, Tommy, but I think you get sacked.
Ah, there we go. There we go. So be it.
You call that radio straight away, Audrey. What a drummer. What a drummer.
I'm so
you call
embarrassed.
that radio
I'm
watching
actually a
tonight.
bit
Great
to
show as
that.
well if you're into your podcasts or that, go into them.
Fantastic podcast.
Well, you're embarrassed. If I drunk like that, I'd be like all day doing it.
You know that way
I'd be
I
up all
forgot
day doing
that,
if I was
that ever
that good
happened,
at drums.
So,
Who was playing the bass on it? Because it was actually really good.
It wasn't you anyway, Andy.
It was the me, aye, definitely was the me.
it was my mate Fraser Snedden who used to play in Hector Bizerk as well.
Really good, really good.
He's amazing. Best
Cool,
bass
yep.
player I've ever played with.
Okay, so we've got tonight's guest, Audrey Tait, drummer and producer of Hector Bizerk. One of the highlights at Hector Bizerk was opening for hip-hop legends Public Enemy and the Jurassic 5. Audrey's also one half of Novasound Studio and production duo with Lauren Gilmour, as well as The Girl Who Cried Wolf, where they released their own music. Girl Who Cried Wolf are absolutely brilliant. That was a song that we played in the intro. What song was that we played?
That was Crutch.
Crutch, yeah.
Crutch, yeah.
And there's loads on YouTube. We'll play another one later on as well, for that as well. So Audrey, what a great album you've chosen this week. So Run the Jewels, tell us a bit about them and how you're into that band, that rap duo.
Yeah, well, I suppose I was actually kind of late to the party with Run the Jewels because I got into them when this album came out last year, and then kind of worked my way backwards, whereas people had been recommending them for ages and I hadn't kind of got round to listening, and I listened to this album and I was just blown away by them. So I kind of got that and then went back to the first one and worked my way through them. And I just think at the time that it came out last year, it was sort of height of the pandemic, the height of the Black Lives Matter protesting as well, and I think it just spoke volumes about a lot of what was going on in the world, and it really hit me. And I think as a producer as well, it really inspired me, and it kind of had a huge influence on some of the music that Lauren and I made as The Girl Who Cried Wolf last year as well. So yeah.
And how is it Novasound? Is this just a new thing you have started with Lauren? And are you busy? Are you getting a lot of acts, or is it just yourselves you're producing just now?
Yeah, well, we've been the studio came before the band, so we kind of started writing together maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. Just we both had a bit of time off from the bands that we were in, and we ended up scoring a short film, and we were like, oh, this is quite good. We quite enjoyed doing this, and we kind of started doing a wee bit more work, and then got our own studio, and that was in 2017. So since then, we've been working with we work with artists, and we also write for like theatre and film and that kind of stuff as well, and master music as well, and everything the studio does, we do. But production's like our thing. That's our sort of favourite thing to do. And The Girl Who Cried Wolf kind of became our outlet for experimenting and kind of playing a bit. You know that way when you're making music and you want to play a bit with effects and really kind of push the boundaries a wee bit, and you don't want to do that with other people's music all the time unless they want you to. So The Girl Who Cried Wolf gives us an outlet for that, and it's been nice because there's people that have came to us sort of off the back of that, being like, we kind of like the sound of this song, could you do something with us? So but yeah, we've actually got off to quite a good start this year. Like, we kind of usually January is a quiet month for musicians, but a lot of people are recording at home now and sending stuff to us to mix, and I do a lot of drumming as well, like remote drumming. So yeah, it's all been a good start to the year.
No, it's cracking.
Great stuff.
Good to hear. But it was,
I've got the delay. It's me that's got the delay, I think. So I'm going to jump out, and Andy and Tommy I'll just reboot because it's my Acorn Electron that's knackered tonight. So I'll jump out, and then we'll get straight into the Pelikan 4 when I come back. But I'll need to put 50 pence.
I was actually speaking about you the other day there, Audrey, to I don't know if you remember Stephen Dewar. They call him the Van Dad.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes.
So,
I'm desperate to work with him, so I tell him that I want to work with him. I love his visuals. So I think they're amazing.
His visuals are brilliant. I mean, it's just part of the stuff. But he was bigging up your production stuff, saying how good production wise, the music's coming out just at the moment with you, and he was loving it. But no, it was quite nice to hear his side, and he was saying obviously what a fantastic drummer, and he remembers all the stuff you were doing. Something to do with a drum case. You left a drum case behind at a studio one day, and he'd phoned. One of the guys had phoned. This was the first time we met you. He said the first time we met you, he says you left a drum case outside the studio, and he stood with it, and one of the other guys had to phone me.
Oh, I drove away. Yeah, I think I drove away and left a snare or something. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yep. And he said,
we've all done that, Audrey. We've all done that. Symbols, hands and stuff.
I went to Belfast to play and turn up at the gig, and I'd brought everybody's stuff and everything except my cymbals, and I was I was so embarrassed. I was too embarrassed to ask to borrow someone else's, because I was like, I wouldn't share my cymbals. That I started the gig without them, and I just played the rims and the toms, and then the guy came up and was like, you can use these, and I was like, thanks very much. I wouldn't be like that now. Now I would be like shouting going to somebody cymbals. I was like, use them, or use something. But yeah, at that time I was like, oh, and because you're like, and you don't really know anybody. Like, we were in Belfast, and I was like, I can't even like phone somebody to bring them. But yeah, but I took my roto toms, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I didn't notice them on your kit. I used to have a set of them a long time ago, and it's the worst thing I ever did was get rid of that kit with the rototoms. I would love to have them again. I don't know what for. I mean, they're not going to fit in with the Kinks experience, but I suppose I'd find something to do to use them for. Yeah,
you'll whip them out every now and again. It's like what guitarists do with a Zoom pedal. Like every 4 years or so, the Zoom pedal comes out. Play about with it, and then gradually turn them all off till it's bypassed. But I'll just use it as a tuner.
That's what I use mine for.
It's this phaser.
I seen that. I use mine for recording. So I mean, as a drummer, Audrey, what's your kind of best gig to date for yourself as a drummer?
Whoa, gigs feel like a million years ago, don't they? What are gigs?
No, that's true. Yeah.
I would say probably some of my favourite gigs that I've ever played would have been with Hector, and probably one that sticks in my mind was when we opened for Public Enemy at the ABC. Like that's one of my favourite venues. Well, was one of my favourite venues like to go to a gig to. And we played that off the back of doing like a few festivals and that, and it felt like there was a few songs that we played where the crowd were kind of like singing along with us, and I was like, that's because we've played a lot of supports, and you know the drill. Like when you play a support, there's just like a row of people that like don't want to see you, so you just kind of like, it's a bit like we've supported the Libertines a couple of times, and I was just like, this is the biggest brass neck ever, is doing that kind of support, because most of the people are just like, what is this, like pure raging and tweeting about you and all that. But with the Public Enemy one, that in particular stands out because people were singing along, and I was like, oh, not only are we supporting like absolute hip hop legends and music legends and heroes, but like people were kind of into what we were doing as well. So yeah, that's kind of the one that comes to my head there, but of like one of the highlights.
I thought when you go to a gig, every day you see, they're all here for me. They're all here for me. Is that what you think? Is that not what or is that just me?
That's just your gig, Andy, because it is everybody's. You brought them up the bus.
For me, mate.
Dragging them in off the street and everything.
Aye.
Did you see my mate's man? Oh no, it's me.
He's back.
There he is.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm all right now, am I?
Oh, you seem better now, mate.
Much better.
Right, that's good. That's good. Okay, so we've got a few guests. Have you done the comments? So obviously, you call that radio was. Have you done them? Alana Anderson's watching tonight evening, folks. Don't think I'll see the podcast to the end as I've been on it all day. Good. Hopefully, we're going for the 2 hours tonight. We're going for it. All right. So we're going to try and do it tonight, but it doesn't mean we're going to rush folk. We're certainly not rush Audrey. But we might need to give Andy and Tommy a wee kick, but we should be all right. But let's get into the Pelikan 4 then. We love doing the Pelikan 4 at the start. This is where the 4 is choose an artist, an original artist or band, and a song we like, whether it's recent or for a few years ago. So, ladies first, and our guest Audrey, who did you choose for your Pelikan 4?
Yeah, I went for Caragh, who I think you've maybe played her on the show before, or Tommy's played her a bit. So yeah, I went for Burn Bright, which is one of Caragh's tunes. And we actually worked with Caragh in the studio, Lauren and I, so we worked with her on the production of this one. But that's not why I picked it. Like, it's genuinely, I text her on a weekly basis telling her how much I love this song, like, because it's it's just a really cool tune, and I think she's a brilliant artist and a great songwriter.
Self-promotion. Audrey, it's your show, self-promotion.
I mean, a wee bit, but I quite liked that it was kind of a bit rocky. Like, she came in and she was like that. We always talk, like, when we're working with somebody, we always talk about like what kind of music they're into and stuff. And she was like, oh, I really like this Cardigans tune. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. And it was one that I hadn't heard, and it was quite rocky on the guitar. So I was like, yes, like getting the guitar out and just really, and I love working on like playing the drums on it and everything. But regardless and irrespective of all that, like, the song is just a great song, so it's a bonus to be involved in it. But yeah, I hope you like it if you haven't heard it.
Brilliant.
Here we go then. This is Caragh.
You go your way, I'll go mine. We'll meet somewhere in the middle. As the world around catches fire, we burn bright, we burn bright. As the world around catches fire, we burn bright in spite of it. Sugar and spice, all things nice, to sweeten up a bitter dish. Vows that you take when you're young and bright-eyed are tested in the thick of it. You go your way, I'll go mine. We'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Nice melody there, sugar and spice and all things nice. What's that been in, that lyric? Sugar and spice and all things nice.
Beautiful South.
That's 60s tune.
And wine. It's been used in a lot of things, especially at nursery time.
It was also Caragh on the
Burn
Garland.
Bright by Caragh. And you played in that, Audrey, yeah?
Yeah, so we produced it. So Caragh came in and like she basically had the song and played it on, I think she played it on piano or acoustic guitar, I'm not sure. And then Lauren and I put everything else down. So drums, guitar, bass, synths. I can't even remember everything that's on it, but
You
yeah.
need to check out the rest of the EP as well. The EP, the show, it's absolutely brilliant. I think I played every track off it because I managed to get a wee interview with Caragh just around about the time it was launched. Oh, she's fantastic singer-songwriter and a lovely wee woman. She was doing like Monday lockdown tunes as well and stuff on a Monday morning, and just lovely person, nice woman, and a great songwriter. So check out the rest of the EP, the show. Highly recommend
Excellent. Yeah, so we'll get the link up for Caragh, and that was our tune, Burn Bright. Stephen Wallace loved that. Gary Holland, he thinks sounds a bit like Catatonia. I agree with that. There's a wee bit in there.
Shout. Yeah.
Good shout there. Yeah. And Graham Hay, he's also watching tonight as well. Okay then, that was Catatonia. I'm trying to think what she sound like, and that's that. Gary, good man. Okay then, let's get Tommy Clark's Pelikan 4.
Poppermost, absolutely brilliant. This guy is a Glasgow songwriter, a multi-instrumentalist, and a professional Paul McCartney, which is why I was going to try and sneak it in last week. He's played in all the main Beatles tribute bands. His name is Joe, and the name of the EP is a piece of Poppermost. This track is superb. I think the one I went was Laziest Man in the Realm. Is that right?
That was right, aye.
Yeah. It's just super, and I love the.
Yeah, you can definitely hear the 60s in that. It's like that band for Edinburgh, Logan's Close. They do a good 60s kind of sound as well, which I think is quite good. So that I will put the link up for that. That's the Poppermost, and as Tommy says, Paul McCartney tribute. So see, is it like being bootleg Beatles or that, or like just other Beatles type bands?
He was in them Beatles. He was in the Cavern Beatles, and he also did a tour last year of like a Paul McCartney stage show, theatre show, right across the UK just before we had into the lockdown. I'm actually hoping to catch up with him at some point and kind of get him in for a wee interview and whatever, because he's quite an interesting fellow, that's for sure. And especially when you're in a Kinks tribute band, he's a good man to know.
Yeah. Singing McCartney though, when you like, I'd like to hear him sing "Maybe I'm Amazed." You know, you'd like when you hear him.
His name's Joe Kane. Check him out on YouTube, and he's just
Joe Kane.
He's been in all of the kind of the big Beatles tribute bands, because he is the best. The best McCartney around.
Maybe I'm amazed by the way you love me all the time. I can love that song, man. Love it. Valentine's and all. Okay, it's Andy Kerr. He liked that. And my brother Greg, hi troops, he's watching tonight as well. Likes a bit of hip hop. Okay then, Andy, your Pelikan 4.
So I played a track by a band called The Van Damage the other week there. And the singer for Van Damage is off doing their own stuff. A girl called Becca Starr. And just fantastic, completely different. Not something that I thought would be into, but it's almost like spoken word meets hip hop, and it's phenomenal. And what a singing as well to boot, you know, and just really, really talented. Shot round about Glasgow, and it's quite a deep song, to be honest. It's Speak No Evil, and if you listen to the words, it's quite hard hitting.
Here we go.
Denies the girl's got hustle, but somehow she lost the direction. Under total family protection, the heart and soul now the collective. A sister or brothers in number, torn asunder. Her love floods her, carried her out the tussle. And fuck me though, it took her a long time to crack. But with so many at her back, ready to attack, defend from colour at the black. Nothing's hurting tired souls again, cause this is the verse for the friends who often pretend it's nothing to them. But when you've literally saved a life every now and again, in time the sacred and divine need to know know that they're the light and you're mine. You can't turn the page when the book is blank. You can't teach me yet because you've not learned. You can't set my blade when the tables turn. And I drift away, cause there's no words to say. All the plans were unmade, thinking but not speaking evil all of my time. Sinfully she got pessimistic, you could have blinked and missed it. It happened overnight, but the...
Wow, I love that.
That's brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
See that video? That video's clever as well. I don't know if you noticed. But see the purple, like obviously the purple bag and then the purple hair, but see, I'm colourblind so it maybe wasn't purple, but see in the background, like you had the bridge was purple, then there was wee purple street lights kind of coming out. I just thought that was cool. But production wise, listening to that, Audrey, you must have liked that, like with your beats and everything coming in, like the stuff you would maybe do in the studio, I think.
Yeah, it's great, and I think Becca she kind of does everything, so I think she might have produced that herself as well, and she does a lot of like her own like video editing and everything as well, so she's a talented gal. But yeah, it's a good tune. I like that one.
It's brilliant.
Like, and because it got that kind of storytelling element to it as well, so it's nice if you've got time like to kind of maybe revisit that and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah,
definitely.
Excellent. Charlie's watching tonight. Charlie Stratton. I usually call him Charles, his Sunday name, but it's Charlie.
Charles.
And Alana Anderson, she likes that very Stanley Odd vibe. And there's Charlie, who's into his camera work. It's done by filters directly onto the camera lens, Scott. So a wee bit of technicalities there, but I didn't know she produced her own music, because I think the production in that's absolutely superb when you hear it in the good cans, you know.
I think Stephen does a lot on the video side as well, though. I think he does bits and bobs for them too.
Stephen who?
Oh, Stephen. Right, okay. Good, yeah.
It's a guy who's hopefully coming on the show as well. Very interesting fella, Scott. You'll like him.
Stephen who, Andy?
Stephen Dewar.
Oh, he's hopefully coming on the show. I hope he's not. He is, because I'm booked in here. So. He's booked in for the 7th of March. I've got him down for. We're like the dentist. We don't like it when you don't make your appointment. All right then. So my Pelikan for this week's Medicine Men. Now I think this is the third Medicine Men tune I've played with Dean McKinnon on the show doing Iggy Pop's Lust for Life. I love the fact he's such a good band, but he's so humble about it. Like really, when he says to me that he finds it difficult to like get a crowd to gigs and all that, like just to say that, because it is hard, and a lot of bands kind of talk themselves up a bit. You know what I mean? Like there's some bands that do it, but he's very humble, feet in the ground, like told us a struggle what it's like for a band that good to even get folk to come and see them. And then on the podcast, I did say like your music kind of tends. Some of your music would be great in film or something like that. And then this song, finally, and I'm delighted for them, Tenants have used this tune when we first met. They've used the tune in their new advert. And I'm absolutely delighted for the guys. They've got their song in an advert, and hopefully that'll push them on. But this is an absolutely brilliant tune, a great video. Here's Medicine Men.
Staring down the wrong road, keeping track of heavy loads. Artist on the pavement, throwing out your life in gold. Seeking a companion, someone to watch it unfold. Doors are swinging open, but my eyes are always closed. Oh, can you remember riding down the beach, our feet got wet? Oh, can you remember back upon the days when we first met? Oh, can you remember running down the beach, our feet got wet? Oh, can you remember
Brilliant. Love that tune. Love that album.
Oh, it's magic.
Have you came across Medicine Men? Any gig? You gigged with them, Audrey? Medicine Men, Ian?
It's-
You came across
It's
them?
funny actually because I share a rehearsal room with Medicine Men, so I see their amps every day nearly. And every time they're playing a festival, I teach drums and they're in and out of the room like with all their gear. So sometimes I lend a hand. But yeah, so I know the guys, and I didn't know that about the getting the advert. So I think that's great. They've been cutting about for a long time, and I think especially they're such a like kind of live band, aren't they? They're always doing the festivals and always doing gigs. So I think especially in times like this when gigs aren't happening, I think it's quite a nice wee boost if you get picked to do an advert or something. So I'm chuffed for them. I think that's great news to hear.
Okay then, so that's this week's Pelikan 4. Just check out we'll put the links in the comments, and on the promo which came out yesterday, the links to the artists are on there. Get them followed, follow them on all their socials and all the music download sites as well. And I think Medicine Men and a few others have got vinyl that you can buy as well from their stores, which is great. Got a nice vinyl. Tommy likes his vinyl.
See behind me.
So, okay then, we're not going to come to Andy this week for research or tell us a bit. We might come, but it's between Andy and Audrey. But Audrey, tell us a wee bit about Run the Jewels and
I don't know.
this album. Right, go Andy. Right, on you go then. You go first, Andy.
Andy, you've got some facts. You said you'd researched it.
I've researched the album. In all fairness, it's a fourth album. Studio album. One thing that got me was these
That's
guys.
a bit of giveaway with the 4 in it, Andy.
Is isn't it? Nah, well. One thing that got me is they've got an offshoot to BMG Records, and they release all their stuff for free. So when they release all their stuff, they release it for free download all the time. So no matter what, they don't have any kind of big ties, which is amazing. But Run the Jewels is basically American hip hop supergroup. They've been brought under, and it's LP, Atlanta-based rapper and producer, as Scott's probably put down the bottom because he's probably got the same notes as me, and Killer Mike. And basically they released their first album, I think it was in 2013, and have released follow-up albums. Run the Jewels. Well, it's quite funny. Run the Jewels 1, Run the Jewels, Run the Jewels 2, Run the Jewels 3, and RTJ4. Basically, the first one, the last one they've just released is RTJ4. There you go. But Scott's got all the stuff down at the bottom. It was basically released on March 22nd, 2020. And I think it's got 3 singles off it. And it was one of their first albums to go to chart the Billboard Top 100. So I think it was quite a statement for them. But I mean, it's not my background as such. But I mean, I have heard of them before. The reason being is I play some video games here, there, and everywhere, and they have done stuff for the new Cyberpunk. They've done stuff for, I think they've done a track for the new Spider-Man game that's coming out that I've seen loads about, that loads of people are talking about at the moment. So I mean, they are quite well known in these circles, the big circles and things like that. But for me, I struggled a wee bit with the stuff. If I was listening to hip hop, as I was saying earlier, it would be, De La Soul, all that kind of stuff. Grandmaster Flash, the Furious 5, all that stuff. Who I have seen as well. So brilliant. And
how did they get their name, Andy?
I don't know how they got their name, Scott. I hope you're going to tell me.
Do you know, Audrey?
I don't know, but I know there's a wee bit of a nod to Run DMC because they totally love. I think when they were starting out, they were like, oh, they loved Run DMC, and I heard a wee thing with LP talking about he just thought they just looked cool, and he wanted to kind of copy them a wee bit like when he was starting out. But yeah, so I think there's a wee nod to them, but I feel like you're going to say the answer. Can I just jump in though? Was that Alf and Home
of course you can.
In the background?
I
know. I was just going to say that.
Away in the background,
Is he alive? I've not seen Home Away or Neighbours like for about 10 years. That's so shouts to Alf. That's great news to see him alive and well. And what a backdrop for this album, this political
I know.
album. But yeah, sorry. So please tell us how did they come about that name?
It was taken. I phoned up Killer Mike the other week there and asked him, and he says it's taken. It's taken from a lyric from the 1990 LL Cool J song "Cheesy Rap Blues." So it's taken from a lyric from that, seemingly. Cool. They actually were first introduced by Cartoon Network executive Jason DeMarco in 2011. LP produced Killer Mike's 2012 rap music album, and that was soon followed by Mike's appearance in LP's Tougher, Colder Killer. And when the rap music and the Cancer for Cure album that the LP did were released within weeks of each other, the two decided to tour together, and the success of that tour eventually led to the decision to form Run the Jewels. And as Andy said, RTJ4 is the first studio album. It was released through their own record label in June the 3rd, 2020. It features appearances from Greg Nice, DJ Premier, 2 Chainz, Pharrell Williams, Mavis Staples, Josh Homme, and a frequent collaborator, Zach De La Rocha. As you can tell, my Spanish is very good there. Rocha. RTJ4 received widespread acclaim from critics, as Andy said. Debuted at number 10 in the US Billboard chart. That's their first top 10 album. And it was supported by 3 singles, Yankee and the Brave, Ooh La La, and Just the song they did with Pharrell Williams. The release date was June the 5th, 2020, and it was due to the ongoing protests, police protests with the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Mr. Arbery. The duo decided to release it 2 days earlier, saying that, fuck, why wait? The world is infested with bullshit, so here's something raw to listen to while you deal with it all. We hope it brings you some joy. Stay safe, and hopefully get out the other end. So that's the kind of build up to the album. I'm sure Tommy was going to dive in there as well. He's got a few things in
all of that. I was going to come in with all of that, Scott, and Andy. He's did wonderfully well, taking all my detail. I've actually got, as you can see, my notes on my phone for the album, word for word. But you see, the only thing is, it great critical acclaim, Scott. Getting 8.5, 9 out of 10 in most places. Or 4 or 5 stars. It's been well received by the critics, that's for sure. And hopefully
the number one album in the NME for 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, number one. No hip hop, the number one album of 2020 in the NME.
Yeah.
So that was quite good.
I think as well though, like see when you're mentioning all the features that are on it, that kind of shows the crossover involved. So even though like Andy, you're saying, I was kind of hoping for De La Soul or like a kind of classic hip hop album. You've got like Greg Nice on there. You've got DJ Premier. If you're into Rage Against the Machine, you've got is it De La Roca or Rocha? I don't know. Like
De La Roca.
De La Roca. You've got Josh Homme, and then you've got Blummin' maybe Staples on there as well. So like there's huge crossover. Like, and I think it's nodding a lot to the past and the classic hip hop, but also like looking forward and moving with the times. Like it sounds current and retro at the same time.
I think you've got like, I mean, for to, be able to work with somebody like Pharrell Williams in your album, or even just a song, they must be up there with the best of them. And it's something new for me because I certainly hadn't heard of them before this album. But looking at the names on the album, you think these guys must be a big deal.
I'm sure you said you'd heard of them before.
No, I heard of them before on a video game, but I haven't heard. But it's all instrumental stuff in the video game.
I'd only heard of Killer Mike. I hadn't heard of this band, and as I said, I heard of Killer Mike because I think it was Killer Mike was very prevalent during the George Floyd incident, and he was like on the news all the time, and I'm sure he was in Joe Rogan as well talking. I'm sure I've seen a clip in Joe Rogan.
He was quite heavily involved. He was quite heavily involved in like the presidential campaigns, like the Bernie Sanders campaign, and the band got like quite involved like with like that side of things.
Is it not one of their songs as well? They done a kind of thing of one of their songs on this album, did they not, for the presidential campaign? Was it not?
No, what it was, in today's impeachment trial, one of the governors or senators quoted a Wu-Tang Clan lyric and a Run the Jewels lyric in her speech. Yeah.
Love that, mate. Love that.
Knowledge. That's why we've got you on here. You know,
I know the Wu-Tang Clan. They were big. I used to like them,
You sometimes get big artists though that you've just not heard of.
No, I do know who the Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah, Ghostface Killer and all that was in the Wu-Tang Clan. I know all that.
Oh, aye.
Oh,
Got that down.
Redman, Ghostface
What
Killer,
was Old Dirty Bastard?
Old Dirty Bastard. I'm just trying to think of this.
Was he in the Wu-Tang Clan? Because they mention him in a song as well. They mention him in a tune.
Shimmy, shimmy, the one that does the kind of shimmy, shimmy, oh, shimmy. Anyway, right, sorry.
Shimmy, oh,
We're ready to go then?
Yeah, they quote that.
Ready to go. Let's
Yeah.
go. The Pelikan
Bring it on.
podcast. We're going to go and we're going to review our first hip hop album, Run the Jewels, RTJ4, and the first tune of the album is Yankee and the Brave, episode 4. If there's ever a song that's going to go, right, here's our next album, Wake Up, here we go. Absolute belter.
Snapping Matty as a black granddaddy, all back, no cabin, fat black, boat captain, stay floating, no flapping, wave runner, I'm a gunner, I'ma have your block hot as a stunner all summer, and I put that on Osama and my motherfucking mama. I'ma terrorize the actors playing like they want some drama, I'ma chop 'em with a chopper till I motherfucking drop 'em.
Boom. There you go.
Just getting into that.
Hope the Wayne's in bed. I know. Audrey, we've got...
There's your Valentine's.
Come you first, Audrey.
I just think, do you want my score? My score out of 10?
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah,
Score out
so
of
it's a
10,
big-
a wee bit about why you scored it.
It's the big 10 for me for this one. I think it's such an opening for the album. It really sets the tone. I love the sound of it. Like I'm kind of drawn to the drums and the production, and then the lyrics and the flow. Usually when I'm listening to music, so the attack of the snare, like when it first comes in, and like the way they kind of flow over the top of it, I'm just like, it pushes all my musical buttons. So like, I don't know if I want to like snap my neck or like go out an aggressive walk or something like it, but it just gets me going like when I hear that. So yeah, I love the whole sound of it, and I think it's tense, it's angry, but then when you kind of go into the lyrics of it, like when you kind of listen to it a few times and you pick on the lyrics, it's kind of like, it gives you a good sense of like the two of them just being mates, because a lot of it's like Killer Mike talking about police brutality and like basically get it up you to the police, and then it's kind of like LP being like that, don't hurt my pal. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind of that's my translation of it. So but yeah, it just gets me in that mood of being like, I'm ready for this album. And I wrote down one of the lyrics I like in it is just at the very end of it. It says, "We don't mean no harm, but we truly mean all the disrespect." And that's the kind of, I love stuff like that. I'm just like, yes, like it's a bit of a punch, but like a jolly one. So yeah, so that is my take on the first album, first track.
10 out of 10.
Oh, what could you say? I mean, I can't compete with that. You know, that like that explanation is just phenomenal. What, Audrey, you want to come on every week and do my bit?
Which means to say that you've got none.
Which means to say I've got nothing. I'll surprise you, mate. Don't you worry.
Right, go for it. Go to you, Tommy. Go to you.
Right, this was my introduction to kind of hip hop on this track, and for me it was like it punched me right in the middle of the guts and went bang. This is here. Then it started to tail off for me because my ears probably weren't attuned to listening to that kind of music, that kind of track at the time. And as the album goes on, my scores get better and better as I'm starting to get more into it. And what I usually do is I score first when I'm listening to it, the first listen through, then I have another few listens through and then make sure my scores are right. But I should probably have tipped this a wee bit higher once I'd had a few listens through. But I'm going to stick with a 6 at the start because it tailed away for me at the end of the track, Scott.
Okay. What did you give it? Sorry, Tommy.
6.
A 6?
It does get better.
Oh, yeah. My Jesus, Johnny, and a bottle of chips. Okay, then. 6 out of 10. Fucking hell. Andy boy.
You know, when I first tried to put this on, I was hoping for like 3 is a magic number. That's not
Right,
what
we
I
know,
got.
we know, we know.
You've heard that. You said that 4 times now, Andy.
I'm
Right.
just saying.
Maybe you should just go and listen to some De La Soul.
I know.
and we'll talk about this
Honestly,
one.
love it. But no, really hard hitting, just hits you straight away. You know, gets you right from the beginning. Obviously, when you listen to the lyrics, you get exactly what it's about. I mean, it is. It's just, you know, everything that's wrong with the police in America at the moment, or from their eyes anyway. I listen to more of the music. I
De
think.
La Soul.
Aye. No, the music. I think we hip hop is mostly the same for me. I think, even though Audrey, you've better production here than me, and you know you can tell that by your explanation. So I listen to more the words and what they're actually going on about. But I liked it. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised, but I think I liked it because it comes straight in. It just hit you. You're like, whoa, here we go. This is good. I like this. But it was kind of going back the way to older hip hop, as we were talking about earlier, instead of, you know, because some of the newer stuff, it's just absolutely rank rotten. You know, I just cannot listen to it. But I gave it a 7. I mean, I think it was good, and it was a good start to the album, and it definitely sets the tone for the rest of it.
Yeah, a 7. That's a decent score to start off with, Andy. I wonder what De La Soul would have rated that. Bob Williamson, 8.5 out of 10 he gave that tune. So when it comes to me with hip hop, as we said before, hip hop for me is the beat. If I want to hear like nice melodies and all that, I'll listen to R&B, but hip hop's the beat, the kind of power of it, and the tone of the rapper. That's my thing with hip hop, and and playing it as a DJ, how it would go down. This one's brilliant. Straight off the bat, the drum beat in it, they're talking about police, that the kind of drums like the kind of shooting type. It's really it's a cracking beat to go to. I just straight off the bat, 8.5 out of 10. A great start to the album. And the tone with the two rappers is amazing. That's what I like. You call that radio? Really enjoying the show. RTJ's beats are next level. Yeah, they are great. Because I think with hip hop, Audrey, everything starts with a beat. I seen something with Dr. Dre on his like documentary that's in Netflix.
Yep.
And
the Defiant one.
Like the Defiant ones, it's like trying to find that beat. It's like, and that's how you get loads of samples on on these kind of things. Like I seen a thing on a video the other week. There, it was how they created this. I was going to download it, but it was a song that they slowed right down. They took a part of a song, slowed it right down, and then reversed it, and it became do you know what I mean? But the original artist still got the credit for it. You know, they still got sample credit.
I was just going to say that as well, Scott. With this particular song, I believe, and it just came to my head there when you were talking about that. Done the Jewels. I think it was the second album, the beginning of that album. It's one of the songs, Jeopardy. I think. Is that right? Audrey, because you're obviously no.
I don't know. I'm terrible with songs.
Just like this album, Andy.
So what they've done is they've took a sample from one of the other albums and used it on this track. Just when you're talking about samples, and I love the way they do all that kind of stuff. And you know, sample yourself. Wow, you know, doesn't get any better than that.
Gets past all the copyright issues, doesn't it? I think as well. Just to kind of touch a wee bit upon the sound of the album, I think as well, like it is quite like a lot of the kind of classic hip hop stuff, but it's totally pushing forward. And I think a lot of the traditional hip hop, like probably the stuff that you like, Andy, is like the stuff that is quite loop based, and it is you just totally hone in on what the vocals are doing and what they're saying. Which a lot, like I know loads of people that's just what they love. Like they want to hear like 15 tracks of that. But for me, I kind of like when I like to get a wee fright when I'm not a fright, but like a wee shock to my ears with whatever music I'm listening to. So I think that's why I'm drawn so much to this album, because it never just sits, like it always switches up. There's a mad sound, or there's a different flow, or something comes in that just is always like really, really fresh and sort of innovative. And I think that's what I love about it. But I can totally, as much as I'm kidding you on about like De La Soul, but I can totally understand like why people that are just into that like boom bap, like, or the feel good stuff, or the storytelling, or gangster rap, whatever you like. I think with this band, they're kind of trying to put everything into it, but also I think they've also got like the live show in their minds when they're playing as well, because the statement that you were reading, Scott, when you were saying when they released the album and they were just like, oh, fuck it, we're just going to put this out, they were like, we want to share this like in a room with everybody, and we can't yet, and we're gutted, but hopefully we can. Obviously paraphrasing a wee bit there, lads, but you know what I'm saying. But I think they definitely right with that live sort of energy and mentality in mind as well.
Yeah, I get, that's a brilliant point. It isn't just loops, this album. There's about 3 or 4 songs where you're listening to them and going, oh fuck, where are they going with that? There's also some songs I've got to say production wise, and I don't know about you being a producer, there's a couple of songs in it that I think, God, they should have maybe put something in there just to lift it. Like, see that first song, you can just hear a kind of synth in the background coming in, and it kind of just kind of, and then goes back out again. Like you're wanting it to just keep going, kind of thing. But anyway, great score to start the album off with. So we've got 7.88, which is a good score going with these podcasts. We know that that's a really good song score. So let's go to song number 2, which is La La. Ooh, la, la, ah, wee, wee. Ooh, la, la, ah, wee, wee. Ooh, la, la, ah, wee, wee. Ooh, la, la.
Looking for M's like I lost a friend. Jump out of my bed like where the bread. You go hold the egg. Waiter, bring the check. When we talk, we collision car. Keep us in your thoughts.
Oh man, when we talk collision, some of the lyrics, the rhymes they get as well is just amazing. I absolutely love it. Who was that singing there? Is that LP?
I think that was Greg Nice, was it not?
I think Greg Nice is on the chorus, but the rapping I think is LP. Okay. So when you hear the sort of Brooklyn, slightly more aggressive sound, that's LP, and then the Southern Atlanta is Killer Mike.
Excellent. Okay then, Audrey, we'll come to you in this one. Ooh la la.
Right, don't worry, I've not gave them all 10s, but I've gave this one a 10 as well. I think just like as I was kind of saying earlier, I think the fact that they've got like the legends in there, so you've got DJ Premier on the cuts, who's just like unreal and probably their hero, do you know what I mean, like to get him on the album. And then obviously you get Greg Nice on there as well. And I think this one's got more, after that kind of heavy, like pretty intense start, you've got like a kind of a bit more of an old school feel to this one. Like it's kind of get that sort of gospel-y kind of sound on the piano. And it definitely feels more like get that kind of, I don't know, a bit more of a sunny vibe to it. And I just love the nods to, as you mentioned earlier, Old Dirty Bastard in it, and there's also a Juru the Damager line in that. So I think this tune is your kind of, this one's for the hip hop heads, because I think there's something for everyone on here. Yeah, I think that was all I had for this. I think as well, I'm sure I read somewhere that they've brought out, like, I don't, maybe I'm making this up, but I'm sure I read they've brought out something like their own cannabis or something called Ooh La La now, based on this.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that right? Yeah. So
that is right. I did read that. I'm just trying to see where it was. Yeah, in collaboration with Ooh La La, the duo announced a cannabis strain of the same name. Look at that. I am totally off internet tonight, but on the ball with facts.
Oh, you are.
You've got to give and take. So my internet connection's terrible, but my facts are all right. 10 out of 10 for that one.
Yes,
let's go to DJ Tommy Clark.
Yes, I just liked the way this kind of hooked me in right for the start. and I think it is probably because it has got that kind of maybe a bit mellower vibe to it. I gave it a 7.5, Scott. My points are starting to creep up as we're heading into the album, and I'm starting to get used to it. But no, I really like this one. This is a track I can possibly listen to again. Put it into the playlist. For me, that one, that's all I've got for
7.5
it. It's just
for you.
a nice hooking a riff, and it just pulls me in, and I like it. Either I like it or I don't.
Mark McGee agrees. He agrees with you, Audrey. It's a 10 out of 10. Bob Williamson said a 7 out of 10. Andy, yourself in this one?
I'm just looking back at I was looking back at my notes and stuff like that, and I think I've made an absolute arse of something here. I don't know why. Scott, I think I've sent you a 6, but I don't think that's the case. I think I've actually marked it an 8 when I've been doing something else, and because I was just trying to fix my computer and everything to try and get it up running before the time, I think I've figured it down because it reminds me of the old kind of Wu-Tang Clan type style, DJ Ninja, all that kind of stuff. Aye. Scratch Perverse. Aye, you never heard, honestly? No, Scott, look it up, mate. Look it up.
Taylor Swift, DJ Ninja. Oh my God, man!
No, it reminds me of the old kind of Wu-Tang Clan stuff. And it was somebody that when I served my time was right into them, and it kind of was listening to and things like that, and it let me listen to it. And that I liked this better than I did the first track, because of that, just the older type style to it. And I gave it an 8. I don't have much on the song, but I think it was a cracking song.
8, right? Okay, so you gave it an 8. Is that the last mistake you made, Andy? Because that's kind of knocked it up about 2 place. That 2 points has knocked it up the chart.
I have no. That is.
You can let me know anyway if it happens.
I'll get
that's
through
the
them
first
just
one,
now.
the only one, yeah.
Aye, I think so.
All right, mate. No bother. That's fine. So that's a couple of good scores. So that's an 8, a 10, and a 7.5. I gave it an 8. To me, this was back to kind of early 2000s hip hop. Very all I could hear was Outkast. I loved Outkast. Like when Miss Jackson came out, I then kind of got a lot of their other stuff, and this is very Outkast for me. The vibe, especially the chorus. As well. In the early 2000s, hip hop was a great time. I loved, that's where I got all my music for, and I just loved playing it. Been a big Oasis fan, but still been right into your hip hop. I think this is a bit where they even gave a wee nod to Old Dirty Bastard as well in this. There's a wee lyric in there with that as well, which I quite liked, who was an absolute legend. So 8 out of 10 for me as well. Absolutely brilliant start. Let's see what that gave. Ooh la la. So 8.38. Oofed. Doing all right this week. So Yankee and Brave 7.88 and an 8.38. Next tune, and then we'll go to some comments, is Out of Sight. I'm just going to go and fix my internet again, and Andy, you can come in once this is by. All right, here we go.
Run, piety just really isn't us. What a rush, see you cutting up a pie, that's my lunch.
Run your motherfucking pockets when I come. It's an honor to be robbed by Denise's only son. Yeah, give her ready, baby boy, bitty, moving extra heavy, whipping Chevy. Gotta get it, eat spaghetti with the monster. Vegan bitches beat them dick cause they don't eat no steak.
So I'm going to go to Audrey first, because Scott's just disappeared. I thought I didn't know he was actually disappeared. So we'll come to you first, Audrey.
Yeah, again, I love this one. I love the feel of it, and I've given it an 8. So yeah, I love the way that they play off each other on it. I think, as I said before, LP with the kind of the Brooklyn tone, it's just a bit more aggressive, a bit more direct, which I quite like in my hip hop, and I think that's quite Glasgow. Like if you listen to any Scottish hip hop, it tends to be like the Glasgow rappers are a wee bit more in your face, and then Edinburgh ones, like the East Coasters, are usually a wee bit more chilled, a bit more mellow. So that kind of reminds me of that. And then Killer Mike is obviously got that kind of southern drawl as well. But yeah, I just love the way they play off each other. I think it feels, I don't know much about like what it's about or anything, but it feels a wee bit kind of tongue in cheek, I think. And I know that they do like this sort of character stuff, which is a bit reminiscent of like MF Doom, like with that kind of character stuff, which again, I think they just take all, I feel like they love all the hip hop that they kind of put into all the elements that they put into their albums is like all the stuff that I love. Like, so the character stuff is fun. And I think the production on this one is just crazy. Like, I think when you've got it on in the car, I thought my speakers had blown at first, and I think that's actually an amazing technique, is like to be able to get something almost sounding distorted, which I think is very current now. Like in a lot of Billie Eilish production, like they're doing that. Like that kind of, it feels as if it's like you're breaking something. But
I was just going to say that it sounds like the old subs used to fit in the cars, and used to have and you used to get that kind of deep bass, but all but the real bottom distorted on it. Do you know what I mean? So something's either rattling in the boot or something like that, or rattling off the side. But I think it's been done purposely that way, because obviously that was like, I mean, a lot of the stuff was you opened the boot of the car and, you know, they were just pumped out like, you know, beats, and everybody was just like freestyling and whatever. But that's the kind of thing that this song kind of like, I had in my mind. Do you know what I mean? So when I was listening to, obviously with 2 Chainz, it was a bit more gangster type gangster, that as Bob said as well. But like, it's not, as I said, it's not a field that, but in my mind, I had somebody opening a car up, and that was the bass you were getting. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was, you know, and the low end really distorted on it. Yeah. And
to achieve that, like, and like to mean it, it's really hard. Like it's hard. It's hard to do, and I just think the way they've got that in a couple of the songs, where it just feels like it's going to, like something's going to burst. Which I think gets you into it more, like you're saying. It kind of makes you feel as if you're like out and somebody's got the speakers rattling.
The speakers rattling, you know, off the side. Scott will remember if he'd been doing the Oval when he was younger than that. You know, somebody used to have the big bass speakers in the back of the car. They used to open them up, and that's the sound you got. Do you know what I mean? That was the sound. But again, I thought it was a good tune. But I gave it a 7 as well. So I'm going to go to you now, Tommy, because I've spoken off, mate.
You haven't did, mate. I was in awe just listening to the two of you bouncing off of one another with the talking of that bass sound in it. I totally understand what you mean. I mean, I've got a PA set up in here, so I was listening to it through my 12-inch PA speakers, and I was getting rattled. The actual walls were rattling with that, so it kind of gets you there, gets you right there. The whole track jumped out at me, so I gave it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 for you, yeah. Yep. I kind of wrote, to be fair, at this point, it was the rhythm of the songs were kind of a bit samey. Like when you go through the 3 tracks, so like track 1, 2, and 3. But it's not a bad thing for me. It's keeping the rhythm of the album going. It's keeping it up there. I wrote the production on it. It was great, and the rapping in it, especially like at 1 minute 40, there's a section of rapping that he gets so many words in there. It's quick. It's back to, because the beat picks up there as well. But I really liked this. The first 3 songs, it was like, it just takes me back. The first 3 tunes in this, and maybe even track 4 as well, which we're coming to. A really great start to the album. If it was on vinyl and this was the first side, it would be, it's a cracking side. I can't wait to turn over. But 7.5 out of 10 for me, out of sight. Absolutely brilliant tune. Bob, he gave it a 9 out of 10. For this tune, was this the one? Was 2 Chainz edition? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, 2 Chainz was in. Yeah, this one as well. So that's a great score for that song. Let me see what we've got for that. Out of sight, 7.63. Okay, best song title ever for track number 4. Holy Kalama Fuck. Here we go. Track 4.
The log of fire, the non-complier, the death defier, the Mike Myers, murder rapper for hire, doer of drive-byers. The bag, clack, clack, let it loose, murder all witnesses as survive. That's a job completer, dependable contractor. The backhand whack rap slapper, Mr. Leather Bomber Taker. Catch you getting off the F.
Oh, we've lost
He's away
Scott
again.
again. I've lost Scott again. I never even seen anything coming up. So that's a sort of type with me. Just puts me in the spotlight, you know. Audrey, I'll come to you first then. I'm not even going to pronounce it because I can't even pronounce it. Holy
Kalama
fuck.
Holy Kalama fuck.
There you go.
There we go. Tommy's. That's not the first time you've said that, Tommy.
No, it's not. I've had a few holy Kalama fucks in my time.
I've met a few. I've gave this one a 10. I love this one. I think, like when Scott was saying, I would actually disagree. I don't think the first few tracks are samey, like rhythmically. I think that they're quite different, like maybe a similar pace, but they're quite different in terms of rhythm. But if you're kind of thinking it's getting a bit samey, then this one just totally switches it up. I think when the beat comes in, like it's kind of unexpected where the snare is. Like it kind of punches in a wee bit because you're used to, well, especially in hip hop, you're used to like the 2 and the 4, nod your head and whatever. Whereas this one is really different. Like it's a bit more syncopated. So it kind of makes me feel a wee bit uneasy, but in a good way. Like I enjoy it. And then I think when you're just kind of settling in and you're like, all right, okay, I've got this one, it completely switches. So that moving on from the wee clip that we heard there, it totally switches, and then it kind of goes into this almost deep, dark, cinematic place, and it gets pretty grimy, and then it has this kind of dub vibe. So again, I'm kind of drawn to the production of it. I don't have much to say about the content yet because it takes me about a million listens before I pick up on like loads of words. But in terms of the sound of this one, I think it's really amazing the way it kind of switches, because even if it just stayed the way it was at the start, I would love it. But when it switches to that kind of like, I don't it's hard to explain, isn't it? Like when it kind of does that, almost like it gets quite like haunting, and then but there's this kind of dubby like offbeat thing happening as well, which is really good. But yeah, again, it kind of sums up why I love them, because you just can't settle. Like it's, your ears are always just getting something fresh coming at you, whether it's with the flow or with the music or just a mad sound that comes in and pans round you once. I find it really exciting to listen to. So yep, 10 from me on this one.
Tommy.
Yep, I've got 3 words written down for this: industrial, grimy, and dark. That's for me. That's what this track is. And then when you said cinematic, there's definitely that in it as well. There's that kind of, it just opens right up and just that's, you go, whoa! But it's just brilliant. I've got it at 7 down for this. I think I originally had it as a 7.5, but I pulled it back to a 7 after a couple of listens. But it's definitely it's a dark song with it. But a total change for what the first, as you say, the first couple of, they're not exactly the same. There's a lot of differences in them, but this one's totally kind of for a different area. And it's probably, as you said as well, these two guys have kind of got a love of hip hop and a love of all the different types of genres within it, and they're bringing all these loves in, and that's something different for them. So 7 out of 10, Andy.
I mean, I don't know if it's because there was so much change in this. I wasn't really getting it that much, you know. And I don't know, like Audrey, you mentioned about there's like almost like an offbeat, right? And I just thought it sounded basic points, and I don't know if that's maybe what it was. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I just, for me, this was one of the tracks on the album where it was all right. You know, I liked it, but I just felt that it was going too many directions where it could have focused on one thing and been really good at one thing. Do you know what I mean? And so I gave it a 6, which isn't bad, but it's not like. Yeah. But I think on this album, I mean, I've went quite low in the middle of the album for some reason, you know. And when I say low, I'm not talking about, you know, I'm going right into like 3s and 4s and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it's then like what Scott was saying earlier, it started to sound the same after that. So after here he comes. So after not this track, not the next track, but the next track, it just started to sound a wee bit, same for me, as Scott was saying earlier. But I gave this one a 6. It's still a good tune, but I just think there was too much happening in it for me, whereas it could have focused on being good at one thing. Scott,
I think that's great though. That's like what the music's about, isn't it? It's like the things that me and Tommy were kind of drawn to in that track is kind of what was a wee bit off-putting for you, Andy, and I think that's why these conversations are really good, like to get the different perspectives. And again, it kind of shows that within this album there's kind of something for everybody so far, and we're only like 4 tracks in.
Do you know what I love? I love about a lot of the hip hop stuff is that how simple a bass line can be and how effective it can be in a hip hop track. But then you've got some. I've got the wee and she's just have a conversation. You want to join in? No. All right. But
I thought we were in bloody Piccadilly Circus there.
I know, but they've got the big iconic bass lines like Grandmaster Flash and all that really kind of more, most sampled bass line in the world and all they kind of things, which are a wee bit more difficult, but they're great. Hip hop tracks are great for simple bass lines and make them really effective.
Yep.
Scott,
how you doing? Sorry, my wee boy was absolutely howling there. He kept shouting. He was screaming for his daddy, so I had to go up and give him a wee cuddle there. These are the things you've got today. You know what I mean? Like, it was a wee shame for him. And I said, Carson, I'm trying to review Holy Kalama. Fuck, you need to go to sleep here. And he's like, oh, I love that song, Daddy. Aye. So for a start, great title. I was drawn in by the title. The title's great. So you're looking at that title and you're thinking, what are they going to be singing about here? But lyrically, I wasn't listening. Lyrically, I was just, I love the samples in the tune. There's loads of wee samples in there. I think I read there's a few 70s disco samples kind of just in there. The music's excellent. The beat of the song's great, but for me, it was the breakdown into a different rhythm, which is cool. You were talking earlier at how it's not just a loop; it's that wee breakdown into something different, which happens all throughout this album. 7.5 out of 10 for me. Another great song. 4 in, and you're kind of high 7s and 8s for me already. Absolutely spot on. So Bob gave that a 6.5 out of 10 for that tune as well. I think Andy gave that as well a 6.5. So our score for Holy Kalama Fuck is 7.63. Still very good. And song number 5, another great title. This is Goonies v E.T. Before we start, who wins, Goonies or E.T.?
Goonies for me.
Goonies.
I'm Goonies.
There you go. It's sorted 3 out of 4.
No comment, aye.
There we go.
Ghostbusters stick to the art, oh my god, I'm over mad. Cash back, running through beds, all hope it don't blast. And it's all motherfucker, bring it up fast. Be alone, I'm a home and I can and then dash. Fuck y'all got another planet on stash. Far from the fact that the flames of our trash. That is not so, it is ash. And you gotta know the past, gotta rap. If the love gone mad, but I promise.
Audrey's saying Ghostbusters in the chat there. Yeah. Okay then, Audrey. Goonies v E.T. What do you make of that one?
This one a 7. So I suppose that's quite a low mark from myself on this one. But yeah, I think this one's it brings the tempo up a wee bit. I think it's got a kind of sci-fi feel to it, which maybe that's the Goonies versus E.T. reference. And I think from this point on in the album, that kind of sound starts to filter through. I think the dynamics are crazy. I feel like, again, you can't really settle into it because it's just total attack. But they also give the music space in this one, which I think they definitely should do. And again, in a lot of hip hop, they sometimes don't. It's just like kind of like constant with the vocals. But I think in this one they give a little bit of space to the music. There's some really nice patterns that come in. and sync up with the verses. I think this is the one that kind of near the end, Killer Mike comes in with like a real kind of punchy verse. And there's like some wee fills and snares that just come in and sort of accentuate like the rhythm. So yeah, I'm totally drawn to the rhythm in this one. And yeah, 7. It's not my favourite, but like obviously I still love it. And they're still going with that kind of what we were talking about with that low end thing. It's like it's almost like a kind of deep 808 that's been like put through like distortion and like really pushing the bass on the sound of it. So yeah, that kind of sits under it as well, which I love. But yeah, so
I'm going to pretend to know what you're talking about when you're saying an 808. I'm just shaking my head there as if I know what you're talking about.
It's the famous drum machine. It's the famous drum machine. Roland 808. Aye, so it was big in like the hip hop and sampling and stuff. Like when they discovered this.
What? Was an album?
808 State must have got their name for that then.
That is exactly that.
State.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
There was also an album.
I'm fucking on fire tonight, man. I am on fire.
There was an album.
You'll be signing up for Mastermind now, hip hop specialist.
There was an album you reviewed not that long ago, and they were writing everything on 808. Who was it now?
I don't know.
I can't
Tommy,
remember.
we'll come back to Goonies VET for Tommy boy.
I just love the production. There was loads going on in it, and it's been just as a sonicscape, just the sound of everything together. It was just I liked it. It kind of fills the headphones or fills the room with when you get the speakers blasting on that. So I gave it a 7.5, Scott.
7.5.
Yeah.
Andy, did that song come back to you there? That you were thinking?
No, it didn't. It didn't. But it was who was it? Who stopped the car and they wrote the song in the car, in the taxi. Oh, Tommy, you were on the show. I can't remember who it was.
Is that no? You're not watching Pornhub?
No. That's a different taxi, mate.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Duran, was it?
No, it wasn't Duran.
No.
Duran.
Anyway,
I know. I really like this, and again, it gave me that feeling of being outside and with that bass again. You know, somebody lifting the boot of the car, and they've got the big subs in the back running off a cheap ass amplifier that just makes it sound like, you know, really deep blow end, but then there's got that rumble at the end of it, you know, tailing off. As I say, Scott, you'll remember that if you didn't the Oval.
90s. Every day doing Air Beach in the summer, cruising with their big speakers and
their Ford Fiestas.
Their souped up Fiestas.
I was quite lucky, my mate, the Cosworth, so I was all right.
Which year this, right? We were. My mate had a Datsun Cherry, right? And he used to we used to drive down and have Atlantic 252 long wave radio blasting out the stereo. So everybody's got their big speakers, and we had Sandy Beach. All the DJs had weird names. We had Sandy Beach playing 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night. Fucking Hadaway, What Is Love? Fucking with the fuzziness coming through it. They were the days, man. They were the days. So what did you give that, Andy? Goonies VET?
I gave it a 7, but no, I really liked it. It was just varied, and it was, you know, I think it was more quicker again. So it brought something a wee bit quicker to it, and I thought the tempo picked up, and that's what I loved about it, you know. And you know, I gave it a 7. It's a good tune, really good tune. One I'll probably go back and listen to actually as well. I don't know. I think we're getting spammed on YouTube, mate.
Looks like it.
I see that. Aye. Oh my god! At least somebody's watching on YouTube.
Because you said right. Pornhub.
I know. God's sake. So we've got Mick Jagger's sister Raina Jagger watching. And I don't know, I'm not going to go through all the comments anyway. But Goonies VET, I love this as well. The thing is, right, I gave it a 7, right? But the start date was 9. and I've written that it was trying, like you've put, Audrey, it's creating space for the music, which is a good thing, as you're saying. For me, there was points in there that they were trying like if I was in the production studio and I had my ear on it listening to it, I'm trying so hard not to turn it into a dance tune. Just at the bits where I'm thinking of bringing another beat in and going kind of all Avicii on you, that they're putting it back. So it's really cool how they're kind of they're getting there and then they're pulling it back. But it's a great tune. They keep it real hip hop. Great. I don't know what I wrote there. I've wrote the song could really have been lifted at some points instead of getting into that kind of Indian feel. They've got that wee kind of Indian kind of bit getting into it, which is actually quite nice. But at that point, I would have had it going that way, you know. But that's how I'm a gas engineer for Presswick, and they're
They're famous musicians, mate.
Exactly. So what did we give that score? Still again. Still in the sevens here. So that's absolutely brilliant. 7.33.
Buried within that, all the comments, Scott, my dad, I can remember this, he'd a rally prepped RS2000 and it had the big bass bins in the back of it. He sided it. So he did. Unbelievable. That was some water to go cruising in.
Yeah. Sofiane Ahmed Zayed is asking, what kind of podcast is this? Keep watching, Sofiane, and it's a music podcast, and we're reviewing Run the Jewels, which is a rap band from the USA. So keep watching, and watch next week and catch all our other podcasts on Facebook as well. All right then, let's get into song number 6, Walking in the Snow. So for Sofiane, snow is when it gets really cold in Scotland. We get it all the time. I'm thinking you don't get it. I'm thinking where you're coming from, you don't get it, and I wish I was where you are just now. But anyway, here we go. Walking in the snow.
Hang it up when you say sorry, didn't know. Probably got a year 10 to go, so let's go. I don't really know how to go slow.
Just got done walking in the snow.
Goddamn, that motherfucker's cold. Hey, you in the wrong mode, you open and close, you know, holes, no go. This whole world's a shit mode, filled to the brim like Gitmo. When you think it don't get more low, with limbo to the sticks on flow.
Gangsta Boo. Yes, that's another collaboration there with Lola Mitchell. Gangsta Boo's in that tune as well. I love female. I say it every week. There's been a few albums I've done now, Audrey, where there's been a female guest, like Bring Me the Horizon had won the what's the Japanese band?
No, Baby Metal.
Baby Strange or something. Baby Metal. Aye, like, and I love when a female comes in and adds their kind of bit to it. It's just, it's a great kind of, it's absolutely brilliant. I love that about this. But yourself on Walking in the Snow, Audrey?
Yeah, so this one, I just think the chorus is just absolute fire on this. I think it's amazing. And I actually like what you were saying with the last song, Scott. This one starts as a 7 for me. I think it takes a wee bit to get into it. And then I think Mike's verse just absolutely kills it and it takes it up to a 9. I think that's what I've been blasting it in the car all week, and I went out the other day. I was like, now when you turn on your engine and then you start scraping the windscreen, and the chorus was what came on and it was just pure blasting. And I seen my neighbour and I was just like, good morning, like, and this was absolutely like blasting out my speakers. But I was like, well, you need to hear Run the Jewels at 10 in the morning, don't you? But but yeah, so I think after, like, once Mike's verse comes into it, literally that stopped me in my tracks the first time I heard it. Like, this album, I went out a walk, like, the first time I heard it, put my earphones in, and when it got to this song, I actually stopped and was like, what? Hold on, I need to go back and listen to it again. And there's a certain line I wrote down. I'm going to speak it and not rap it, but it's all of us serve the same masters, all of us nothing but slaves. Never forget in the story of Jesus that the hero was killed by the state. And I was just like, whoa, like when I heard that. And yeah, like I said, I stopped in my tracks and then was like, I'm going to go back and listen to that one again. I done that with the whole album, to be honest, the first time I heard it. But yeah, so that one started as a 7 for me, but then went up to a 9. I love that, and the chorus
Yes,
is just it's so huge. Like we're saying about the live element. Imagine hearing this one live. Like you'd be so into it. I think the place would be rocking.
This is actually, that tune, Walking in the Snow, is a big fans' favourite. Run the Jewels fans' favourite. I've read that in the Song Facts website. If you're ever, there's a website called Song Facts, and it's like fans put in facts about tunes and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot on this song.
Cool.
Yep. So, what did you give that, Audrey?
I gave it a 9.
You give that a
9.
a 9. Tommy?
8 out of 10, Scott. Another one of these tracks in the album that jumped into me, probably for the same things that Audrey's been saying. I'm just looking up and down through the notes here and going, every song's written by Torbett and Wilder Swartz. I don't even know who they are, so I'm going to have to look into who these two folk are, because if this is what they write, I mean, come on. Every song is just the two of them are on it, so there must be something special. But no, as I said,
I think that'll be them. That'll be the guys.
just making up names. It's fantastic. And Meline Render, whoever they are, Meline and Render, they're just every song.
That's them. That's the guys. Meline's LP and Michael Render's Killer Mike.
There we go. So there we go. Them. And the Swartzes are writing everything. So no, this, as I say, when I was listening to this album, I was just looking for stuff to jump out at me, and these numbers, track 6, Walking in the Snow, and also just totally jumped out at me as like, all right, I'm getting into this now and I'm really enjoying it. So as I say, 8 out of 10, Scott, for that one.
8 out of 10, excellent.
Yep.
Andy, yourself, I'm looking up the Schwartz here.
I'm just
See who they're.
I'm just looking at all my stuff coming back there just as well, just to kind of refresh my memory again. I didn't get these ones as I did the first couple, and for me, as I was saying earlier there when you just popped off, Scott, this is a point of the album for me that I think is kind of the same, but then it picks up again. So I think I had this at about a 7 or 8 during the week, and then I started listening to it again, and I just then kind of went backwards for some reason. So I started off high and then come back down low. So I gave it a 6. But I mean, there's loads of stuff in there. I mean, there's like stuff that I think there's a quote, "I can't breathe," is a quote they use in protest. I think it was originally by a punk group. It was originally phrased by Pussy Riot, the punk group, and the reference all this and this kind of song and things like that. But I don't know, it started kind of taking the toll on me a wee bit halfway through, and I think that it started to sound, everything started to sound quite same after this, and so I gave it a 6. It's still alright, but I still could go back and listen to it, but I just felt that at this point,
There's Michael Jackson.
I see me coming out the kitchen. She's away munching in the kitchen, I think, mate. So no, 6 for me for that one. You're gonna love this, Scott. I know you are.
6 for you.
There we go, Scott. I've managed to do my research now. Torbett Swartz is actually Little Shalimar, who worked on the album. One of the producers. That kind of is behind the curtain for Run the Jewel. So that's who he is, Little Shalimar. They kind of made the producer.
I think they're sound engineers, aren't they? They're kind of putting their bit into it, synthesizer players and all that. Yeah. Okay then, Walking in the Snow for me. I love the wee guitar intro. Like to hear a guitar in the rap tune. My big thing, I love the Gangster Boo, Lola Mitchell bit where she comes in. I like the rapping against each other. And I love the offbeat. So it's a kind of, they're rapping to a bit of an offbeat. The beat's a bit different than what's been in the album. It's quite cool. And it just complements the rest of the tunes well. The album really, like song after song, like just complements each other. It's a really good, up to now, really well structured album. There's like, which is different to a normal album we listen to, where you're maybe hit heavy with the hits, and then they maybe throw in what we call an album track in there, like a song that they've had to poo through, that maybe shouldn't be on the album, or some of them work, some of them don't. But with this, they all seem to work really well, and and Walking in the Snow for me works really well, so I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. And that gives us a score of
Still really good.
7.63 for that song.
I think it's fair to say just what you're saying,
Yankee the
Scott,
Brave
about
was
it.
a...
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say,
No,
I think
you go, you go. I'm just going through the scores. Keep talking.
See, like what you were saying about it being like an album, like the way they all kind of like the way they sit together. I think when you listen to it as one thing, it's really clear that it's written as an album. Like there's not like big gaps between the songs or anything. Like, so it's kind of there isn't really any filler tracks or whatever. I feel like it kind of it's almost got a dancey element to it. Like if you're, and obviously with you being a DJ and everything, like you'll feel that in it. Like they're in that order for a reason. Like you can like a lot of the like the keys of it and the rhythm, like it flows really well, which is another great thing about it, and why I lose track of what song you're on. Like I had to sit and properly listen to it, because obviously what we're talking about with some of the tunes, like they really switch up and you're like, are we on to the next track? Right. And you're not. So I think that's really good as well, like to create as like one, almost like a conceptual thing, like rather than, I think the way people consume music is like by singles or videos or whatever, but this definitely sits as like, this is an album that should be listened to in its entirety.
And they're very clever just now, as you're talking about with music now, whereas the attention span of people in general is like, you need, like songs are 3 minutes now, you must have a hook or a riff within 20 seconds. People are sharing, when people share stuff now, they share that 10-second bit of clip from their song to try and draw folk in, and then they're hoping to get the real music fans in. They're very good at intros. They're very, very good. You can tell with the tunes. I mean, there's some 4 and 6 minutes long, but they're very good at intros, and they're very good at hooks early as well. Like Ooh La La for a start, like that was the same. You know?
I think if you average a whole album out, I think each song's about 3.5 minutes. You know, if you were to take an average, it'd be 3.5 minutes each, which is perfect. You know. As I said, it's got to have that the hooks and things like that, as Scott was saying as well. You know, it's perfect. 3 minutes. Whereas
quite a lot of hip hop albums are kind of known for having like the little interludes. Like probably one of the albums I love is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and obviously through that there's all the little interludes that are part of songs. But I think it, like you say, it's clever that they've not done that, because like we're in the sort of TikTok era, aren't we, where it's like 15-30 seconds if you're lucky. So
if you make it big in TikTok, you can get to number 1. It just shows you.
I know. That's the dream now, isn't it? Try and go viral. But yeah, I think it's good because they're catering. I mean, maybe they're not doing that intentionally. I don't know, but I think there's maybe not.
Like that, no.
Nah, but I think they'll maybe get fans that they maybe wouldn't normally have gotten, because it's so punchy.
Excellent. So that was a 7.63 for that tune. So song number 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to go. Song number 7, let's get into this one. This is the one they did with Pharrell Williams, and this is Just.
Been it time, I'm on mine, I be minding mine. Every time on my grind, I'm just trying to shine. Make $1, government, they want a dozen dimes. The petty kind might kill you cause they see you shine. I done had to have a talk with myself anytime. Am I a hypocrite?
Production masterclass in this. Okay, Audrey.
Right, this is the Big 10. This one, I think this is my favourite track on the album. I think it's a really good one for if somebody said to me, I've not heard Run the Jewels before, I would probably play them this song, because I think it encompasses everything that they're about. I think it's obviously the beat's heavy, and I think it's political, but it's never preachy, which is what I love about them. Like they're in your face, but they're not preaching about it. But you learn a lot from what they're saying as well. So yeah, I think this kind of sums up the sound of them. I think having like Pharrell on it is amazing, because a lot of people obviously know him from doing like Happy and all that stuff, but his production with NERD and obviously the Neptunes, like when you were talking earlier, Scott, about like the kind of early 2000s with hip hop, like the Neptunes were like
Huge,
behind, and not just that, like they kind of helped hip hop become more commercial because they were producing for Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears as well. So I think he is like you forget Pharrell. I don't know what age Pharrell is because he always just looks about 30, but like he's a total he's a total legend. So I think having him on it, I think hearing him, like he does the opening lines, and I think hearing something like that from somebody like him is really cool, like because I can't remember what the lyrics are, but it's nothing's throwaway in this. Like you can tell that everything that's said in it is really well thought through. I think the different voices in it are really important because you've obviously got the Run the Jewels guys, you've got Pharrell, and then you've got Zach De La Rocca from Rage Against the Machine. So it's that thing we were talking about earlier, that crossover of, like, we used to get it all the time actually with Hector. Like a lot of people were like, that liked us, like said they liked Rage Against the Machine, and the irony is I really don't like Rage Against the Machine. Like it's not the kind of stuff I would listen to, but we get compared to them quite a lot. But that, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, like to people that like it. It's just everybody's got different tastes. So yeah, I think having him on it as well, like he's just got this other kind of voice. Like so you get 4 different voices, different tones, different flows, and the production is just
it's amazing.
I mean, it's just all the flame emojis. There's so many layers. I think they done. If you've ever listened to the Song Exploder podcast. I highly recommend it. They done an episode on that where they talked about how they made this song, and LP talks about how like he had like these samples of vocals and he like chopped them up and then sort of put them over that deep sub bass, and it's quite cool to hear, obviously from a production perspective, like to hear how somebody like that works. But
Song Exploder, I'm going to look in. I love
Song Exploder, it's brilliant. It's because there's a few episodes on Netflix as well that are really good. It's fascinating. And a wee trivia from the Song Exploder is that the 4 hits at the start of this song is like a wee nod to Pharrell and the Neptunes, because that's a trademark of his. So even if you think of Happy, now it does the 4, like the one, and then comes in. So that's one of his sort of trademark.
A lot of NERD stuff does that as well.
Yeah, so that's like his thing. So that's like a definite like kind of wee nod to Pharrell on that one. So yeah, I would give that one a 10, and I definitely think if MD's not heard them or a bit unsure or whatever, I would listen to that song, and that gives a really good representation of them.
Tremendous, Audrey. Absolutely brilliant. Insight.
Did I get a wee 10 there as well? Did I win this round?
As well, yeah.
I'm just going to sit back. I just let you talk.
Follow that, Tommy.
It's done a masterclass in how I should actually be listening to hip hop and what it's all about. And then a big list of stuff that I need to go back and listen to and all that. Because as I say, I'm a novice to it, but this song was the song of the album for me. Really strong message in it. I love that. The bass pounding right through it again, and it's just I gave it an 8.5 because as I say, I think it is the track of the album, and probably because I'm quite a kind of a novice to the genre, that this is the kind of the easy one in.
It hit you,
the shoe in one. It's no the heaviest track in the album either, so it's 8.5, Scott.
Excellent. Andy, yourself.
Like just listening to Audrey there, I really want to change this now. Do you know that way? Just
no.
And
you've already changed one.
I know. I think I've just been hard. I've maybe not been in the greatest frames of mind, with stuff. But I don't know. I didn't get it, and I gave it a 6. But now I'm listening to Audrey talking. Like, I'm going to have to go away and listen to all this again. I really am.
Sure. Just an opinion, mate. If you give it a 6 and that's how you feel, then...
But it must have been how it was at the time. I mean, it's nothing to do with the music.
You gave Wonderwall a 6 and all. So.
I hate Wonderwall.
Actually did.
I hate Wonderwall with passion. Always have.
Fact.
I never liked the song when it came out. I still
Let's
don't like
look through Andy's sixes.
It's all my sixes if you want, mate.
You gave PYT one of the best disco tracks ever for Michael Jackson a 6.
I didn't like it.
Andy, you're ridiculous, mate.
I know.
It takes it that there's about a bar and a half of that song to fill a dance floor. That it really is. PYT, a great song.
That's why I'm never a DJ, Tommy. That's why I leave that up to Scott. No, I don't know what it was. You know, I don't know if I was expecting more or what, but I just couldn't get into this one. I gave it a 6, and as I said, I just think that I was starting to get into a kind of a trance where it just everything sounded a bit the same to me. Starting off at the beginning, I was maybe hoping for maybe just to bring it down again to then bring it back up for the next tracks and things like that. But it didn't happen, and I think it was just starting to get a bit, right in there. And I think it was just the where I was, unfortunately.
All right, that's fair enough. 6 is fine. And you gave Cage by Travis a 7.
7.
Which I fell asleep at after 3 seconds. All right. Well, he's winding you up. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar bills. A dollar, that's a great line as well. So it really does hit you hard. It's no hanging back with the lyrics in this either. It's right out there. It's as if they've all got in the room and thought, fuck it, man, let's just go for this. We've got Pharrell in here. I'll make it popular. Use hit us with the lyrics, and it'll be amazing. I'm just trying to think what else. It resonates well with what's going on in the world just now. Run the Jewels seem to be the sound. They seem to be the sound, and I read into this a wee bit because I wasn't wanting. I had to be sure it was saying, but they do seem to be the sound for the BLM movement. And I don't want to get political, so I'm not into politics, but a lot of their tunes are played in that movement. They're speaking for the people, for everybody as well. Obviously, and they've got a lot of Bernie Sanders fans. They've got socialist views, so they're kind of they want everybody to be the same and like everybody to get a fair deal. But the tune's absolutely brilliant. It's not my favourite in the album. But there is nice wee hooks in it, or nice wee bits in it as well. You can definitely tell where Pharrell's come in with a couple of wee things as well. Like you get his wee commercial production coming in at some points. I gave it a 7.5. But just talking about Pharrell back in the early days, and we're talking about hip hop artists, and a lot of folk laugh at Kanye West. And to me, I think that guy's an absolute genius as well. He's up there with the likes of Pharrell. Kanye West. I was listening to a podcast, and it was do you know the story, the song 4-5 seconds that he did with Paul McCartney? Well, Paul McCartney was like, Kanye had said, "Do you want to work together?" And McCartney was bringing out an album, and McCartney went and visited his studio. And basically McCartney just sat in his studio and they were talking. And then Paul McCartney says, "We were just sitting in the studio talking. I was just in awe of this guy, like all the stuff he's got and what he does. And I'm just sitting playing the guitar and talking and all that. And then I just left. And nothing really happened. So I thought we were going to work together, and nothing happened. So 3 or 4 months went down the line. And I got a phone call for Kanye West's management if you'd like to speak, because he's now finished the track. And Paul McCartney's like, "What track? I mean, what track you finished?" And basically, Kanye West had pieced together his wee guitar he was mucking about with in the 4-5 seconds bit. So Paul McCartney was talking, and it was, so see the 4-5 seconds to Friday, and the wee guitar riff, like, he pieced all that together, got Rihanna in to help sing it and come up with this tune, and it was just absolutely amazing how they did it. The guy, like, all these guys are geniuses. Even the grunge scene just now, Audrey, like doing like London, although people might not like all that, but that's a movement. That's like when indie come out. Like they're the rock. They guys are the rock stars of the now, like your Stormzy's and all that. They're headlining Glastonbury, and I think it's good to see. Although I'm not into all the tunes, I just think it's good to see that there's a group of people now that are sharing, which we did in the 90s with Oasis and stuff like that, like but in a different genre. But yeah, it was just when you were talking about Pharrell Williams there that got me in there. So sorry for getting off track, but
one of the richest guys in the music business as well, wasn't he, Pharrell? Just with so
Pharrell,
much.
aye. Yeah.
I
don't know.
If you ever,
sorry, Audrey, I'm just saying you did a wee drum cover of "She Likes to Move" or something. Did you just recently?
Oh, I've done that. I've done it yesterday.
When,
when I've got a wee break in lessons, I have a play about, and I've been rinsing the Neptunes and NERD since I watched the Hip Hop Evolution on Netflix. Has anybody watched that? It's so good. Love it. And like after that, I was like, I've been at just my playlists are endless. So yeah, I was having a wee play about with that yesterday, and so I'd usually just chuck a wee video up, and I was like, oh, name that tune. So a few people got it, and it's so iconic. And he plays the drums. He's a brilliant drummer. But it's Pharrell that does all the drums on their stuff.
I think he's just
a man of many talents. He's amazing.
Bob's saying, I don't see any DJs on the show, Andy, mate.
So droll. Thank you.
Oh my God, there he goes.
He didn't even plug in the day.
He plays all the easy stuff. He plays all 80s music. Just turns it just down and then into the next tune. Into the next tune. Floor fillers.
When it
floor filler Bob.
It amazes me, like talking about DJs. When I used to think about DJs, I used to think like people that scratch perverts and things like that. Man, they boys were like, I just like. Just an awe they kind of folk they can do all that.
I've been called worse.
Hi, have you ever seen that, guys?
No, is he up? Is that up there with DJ Lion or whatever? What's his name? DJ Viper.
Honestly, get a look at it. It's amazing, especially if you're into old hip hop, because they do a lot. They're featured in loads of different old hip hop bands and everything like that. And honestly, phenomenal. I think they won the DMC championships for like, I think it was 4 or 5 years in a row. But amazing, honestly. Look them up.
Aye, Tommy, without looking, reach back and take a record out and show us if it's a cracker, and I'll concede you're a DJ. All right, here we go. What's that we've got?
Take good care of my baby, Bobby V.
Bobby V.
There you go. Yeah. That's just out of the show. That's after the 60s show.
Okay then, so just we gave it an 8 out of 10. So 8 out of 10, that's my second favourite at the moment. The opening track, the second track, Ooh La La, 8.38, but just was 8 out of 10. So the next tune we're going to come into is Never Look Back. Here we go.
Don't wanna smoke, grab another pack, go. Pop Smoke 2, we're playing piano. Pops, I'm you, it's funny how that go. Mom, you too, I never could drink slow. Never look back, heard her say that before. Sound like the type of advice I'd ignore. Funny how time feel all tick-tock. You think a death speed to drop a clock shot. Never smoke sad, I heard that's a thought. Got $44.
Okay then, Never Look Back. Audrey.
Yeah, I gave this one a 7. I think anything, to be honest, coming after Just, because I love that one so much, I think nothing would ever really kind of live up to that one. So I think whatever tune was going to go in here would have kind of dropped my numbers a wee bit. It definitely seems like it's a wee bit more of a personal one, like they kind of talk a wee bit more about their families in this one. But in terms of the sound, I think it's quite different. Like it's a wee bit dancier than the other ones. Like I don't know, maybe a wee bit housey or something. I like the way the synth goes. It's like that kind of cyclical thing that's happening with the synth that I think you can kind of get lost on. There was somebody that my brother loves is this producer called Nicholas Yar, and I went to see his show in the Arches a couple of years ago with my brother, and I'd never really heard of him, and he'd done a lot of stuff like that, like it's kind of dancey, and it just looped, and I kind of found a new appreciation for that sort of stuff, because I'm kind of not overly usually into dance music. So but yeah, I think this one switches it up. It kind of takes it down a wee bit. Definitely not as aggressive, which, you know, as I've said, that's the stuff I like, is the kind of in your face stuff. So a 7 for me, but obviously I love the sound of it. But yeah, I just feel like it kind of like it's a breather, isn't it? It's a wee kind of breather after like everything that sort of came before it.
Excellent. Tommy?
I've written down here in my notes, it's a kind of ethereal backing sound to it. It's a really kind of chilled out, kind of the synth and drum sounds are kind of more old school and kind of calmed down a wee bit. As Audrey says, it's not as in your face. It's quite a mellow track as well. So I also gave it a 7 out of 10.
7 for you. And Andy, yourself in this one?
Well, I thought it was straight out of the Daft Punk playbook
good choice.
for D-Ray's Tron movie. Since I'm a bit of a geek that way, there's a bit in they're up in the nightclub and that's what they're playing on, the Daft Punk are playing, and that's exactly what it sounds like. And I don't know if I got that in my head or not, or something. But he starts to talk a lot about his dad and how his dad smoked, his mum drank, and all this stuff. And it was a wee bit different for me. But I still don't know where my head was at. But I gave it a 6. And now looking back, you know, at the last 2 tracks, you know, I'd probably rate them higher. You know, just listen to the wee clips again. And I want to go back, and I'm purposely going to go back and listen to these all again. I don't know what's been going on. I think I've just had a really bad week for some reason.
I think, see, to be fair, Andy, it's not like it's not the kind of album you would just throw on. Do you know what I mean? It isn't like a Travis or the Beatles or anything like that. It's not to throw those. I'm not by any means throwing those albums away, but I'm just meaning it's a hard listen, like at points, and you kind of need to, like I was saying at the beginning, like it kind of makes me feel like not empowered, but it makes you wouldn't just put it on the background. So you listen to it with purpose, or
I would listen to this when either I was getting ready for something. So if I was going to competition or something like that, I would probably put this on in my ears and just shut everything else out, because I probably could do that pretty easily. But you know, as a weekday listen, mind you, I listened to, like you were saying earlier about, it was quite funny because I'll go and listen to Rage Against the Machine. Quite happily and all that kind of stuff, you know. And but no, this is the kind of stuff I would listen to this if I was getting ready for a competition or something like that. If I was still doing it, that I haven't done for about a year. You know,
what kind of competitions do you do?
Transvestite dresses up as women and does all the dancing.
I'm so intrigued.
I play ice hockey, but also compete at judo.
Cool. So something like this.
So something like this would be
up,
right up my street, you know. And I will keep it in the back burner for that. You know, but no.
It'll be your new walkout music.
Aye. No, it's very formal.
Me and Tommy, me and you are black belts at Ludo.
But it is something I would use to shut everything off. Do you know what I mean? To completely shut down, and I do that with a lot of music anyway. But this is definitely something for that.
All right.
So I gave it a 6. I gave it a 6.
Wow. A 6 out of 10. This never hit me at all this year. I did like the beat, like I've liked previously to it, but again, maybe it was just as you were saying, like with that song, just because I didn't listen. I listened to this album. I didn't just pick out one track and play it in shuffle. I just listened to it one after the other. So it kind of disappointed me after that, and then song number 9, which the next tune's coming to, is my favourite in the album. That was like kind of like boom, here we go, this is, oh yes. So I think that was how, like, it was just like, Just was great. I can't wait to get on to song number 9, The Ground Below. I don't think I gave this a chance. So and that's just what it's like listening to an album. That's just what happens sometimes. And so 6.23, it's the lowest scoring song on the album, Never Look Back. Okay then, so The Ground Below is song number 9. Here we go.
But I'm a God digger. Tell me as a boss that the God don't need a job, and if I did, the oligarchs would be missing, murdered, and robbed. This is Bonaparte, and he paired with Tucson, and they went on a world conquest, tearing your Bonaparte. Michael remained murderous, but still virtuous. Wait to kill the petty, you found out the church services. Not a holy man, but a moral in my perversion.
Wow, love that. Audrey?
I feel like I'm just getting into them and then it cuts. I think at this point in the album, I'm still thinking about Just. So again, I feel like this one's, I'm still in that kind of, it's a bit of a breather territory for me. It's a bit rockier, and I think it sits well because obviously a few songs previously, you've had the Zach De La Rocca. I keep nearly saying De La Soul, but you've had him, and then you've got the Josh Homme. I can't say his name, but you've got Josh Homme, the Queens of the Stone Age, is sort of coming up. So I think that the placement of this one is really nice because it's a bit rockier. It's kind of got a bit of swagger to it, almost. And yeah, I like it, but again, it's a 7 for me. But I think that probably if you're into like guitars and you're into, and I do like rock music, but I think if you're maybe into Rage, then you're probably gonna like this one. But yeah, still a 7 for me because I'm kind of thinking about, I'm still on Just, and I'm like, that one just blew my mind, so I'm still kind of like just in that space, you know. But yeah, so 7.
No bother, that's all right. Tommy?
I've just written down this is hip hop to me. It's got that big sound, biting lyrics and stuff like that. So I like this one. I gave it a 7.5. That's what I'm going to say. I just like it. I like that one. Thank
you. Never look back.
It's definitely.
When you sorry,
picking it back up again.
No, sorry, Andy. When you go, I'll bring it up and I'm speaking.
No,
go for it. Yeah.
Never look back. You know, going into this, I actually sat up. You know, I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute, we're getting something a wee bit different here. And then I looked at the album and I seen who was coming next as well. I'm thinking, this is a great, great run into this. I'm kind of, it's got my attention again. Do you know what I mean? Really, as you said, it's got a wee bit more heavier kind of rock feel to it. It's got a wee bit of everything there, and I liked it. I gave it a 7. You know, I'm starting to get into it. But definitely one after the last track, it's made me sit up, and it has got that swagger. You know, you can imagine somebody walking out, as you said to earlier. Do you know what I mean? It's got that swagger. It's got that kind of that wee charge about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tommy. This is hip hop for me. It's got that. I just heard it and I was like, boom, you dancer. Turned it up in the van. I had the top teeth out of the bottom lip, the head shaking, fucking get loudy. I had the van bouncing, so it would like I was in LA, like with Tupac and all that. It was just absolutely brilliant. It is totally hip hop for me, and it just sits at that. I'm listening to it and then I'm like downloaded the song. I had to play about with it and I was mixing it with like your kind of your late 90s hip hop. What was the tune? A couple of Ice Cube numbers and Rakim numbers as well. So it sits at that kind of mid 90s BPM. So it's got a great kind of like brilliant to mix. It's got a brilliant mix song. You could sample bits of that. So loved it. Probably, I'm looking back, my score. Like I loved the first tune, so I gave this an 8.5 as well. 8.5 out of 10. Loved it. So let's see what our score is for The Ground Below.
I think as well that one's definitely more in that kind of boom bap sort of territory that we were talking about. It is a bit. It's like more your kind of what you expect, like classic hip hop, but it's still got a wee edge there because it's got the kind of a wee bit of the rockier style to it. But yeah, it definitely seems more like a kind of. Yep, this is what I was expecting from the album, but it takes to like number 9 till you get it, which is good because it makes you listen.
Okay then, so we've got 2 to go. We're doing all right for time as well this week. We're getting on quite nicely. Usually we'd just be getting on to song 5 to do, actually.
This is what happens when you get a gal on the show, innit?
Here we go then. This is song 10, Pulling a Pin.
Same moment in history, back to harness, and here we are again. Hello boy, long time watcher, first time calling it. Every cage built needs an occupant. Got a dead ball, see a lock it in. Had a good run, but they stopping it. Wanna walk man to the coffin lid. Put your heart out, fiction fan. Truly the truth, the stranger document.
And the best I'm.
Wow, and Scott's just disappeared. Oh no. I know. Audrey, we'll go to you first.
Well, I think this song is this is 10 out of 10. Probably probably like that and Just is like my 2 faves on this album. I think every moment of it is excellent. Like from the start of it, the intro, again, it's that kind of sci-fi kind of sound, like sort of like futuristic sound. It's totally cinematic, like, and that kind of makes sense when you were talking about, I think when somebody was saying that there's a song on that into the Spider-Verse, or when you were saying about the Daft Punk thing and Daft all that.
Punk, and you've got they've just done one of their instrumental versions of one of their songs. I can't remember what it is on the new Cyberpunk, which I don't actually have, but I have played. See, I was a bit of a geek that way, but never mind. And one of them's getting released for one of the new Spider-Man games that's coming out as well.
But you can totally hear that, I think, in this song. It kind of conveys that side of them. So yeah, I think the intro just sort of pulls you in with this one. You're like, sounds a bit different after having that kind of more of the neck snapper, like predecessing it. But then when Mavis Staples comes in, I'm just like, oh my god, like I like when I hear her voice, I don't like, I could cry. Do you know what I mean? And my brain is kind of doing the brain emoji, the brain exploding emoji, but my heart is like, oh my god, like when Mavis Staples is in it, and I wrote down the line, there's a grenade in my heart and the pin is in their palm, and you're again, it's just like, and this is, we're only scratching at the surface with the lyrical content on this album, because you really need to listen to millions of times to get that. But yeah, so you've got all that going on, and then Josh Homme comes in on the guitar, and it almost sounds like kind of gospel-y because of Mavis Staples' voice and just the sound of it. But then you've got this kind of haunting edge with the guitar, and I was just going to say, I love the way the guitar comes in, because it's not like a usual, like when you have a feature of like Slash or something, it's like I'm here and I'm playing every note that I can play. Whereas with this, it's like, it's totally just sitting in with the music and with the song, and but it totally enhances it. So yeah, this one takes it out of me. Like, and I think I'm kind of glad that the previous 2 songs are kind of, I've had a wee bit of time to just chill out a wee bit, not think too much about it, and then this one comes in and you're like, wow, like that's, to flip it, it's just so clever, like to go from like just character-based stuff and like classic, like boom bap, nice like lyrical content, to something like this. It just blows my mind. This is why I love music. Everything about this song is why I love music and play music.
Aye.
Andy, sorry, you're.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I love it.
I don't know why, but I really like this song. I just that is. I was kind of lost for words. Just wow. And then I gave it a 3. No, I didn't. I'm only kidding.
Oh,
I nearly did an Andy. No, it's an 8 out of 10 for me. As I said, probably the way Audrey's explaining it with the Mavis Staple vocal and the kind of the guitar. You'd expect with somebody coming in to guest with a guitar, you're going to hear, this is my guitar sound, this is the way I play, this is it, and it's just no. It's just this is what you need for this track, and there it is. So it's 8 out of 10 all day. Yes, I like this track.
If you want Josh Homme to go on a track, that's what you're going to get. Do you know what I mean? That is what you're going to get. It's not going to be overpowered. It's always going to be in the background. His voice is even in the background all the way through the song. You know, so that the wee as is him singing all that all the way through. It's just phenomenal. It just lifts everything.
Yeah.
And then his guitar tone, it uses that all the time for Queens of the Stone Age. And it's so clever because what he does is instead of raising his guitar, he drops everything. And then, you know, like he drops everything else, slows down, and the guitar comes out. And then everything goes back in, but it's all level. The guitar doesn't overpower at any point, and it's just so clever. And to hear him on this track, I was just like, wow, that even though it's completely unique to them, I'm thinking you can still hear that sound that he produces in the background, all the way throughout the song. And then when Mavis Staples comes in, it's a whole different ballgame, you know, and it's just phenomenal. Like, I really liked this. I gave it an 8. You know, I loved how. I'm just glad that Audrey liked that track because I was kind of worried, because it's got that other elements to it, because it's a hip hop album, they might not like this track. But you know, I'm really glad that you. But it's probably for me. This was, probably the best song on the album for me.
Yeah. So you gave it an 8. Audrey gave it a 10. Yeah. I'm the same. It's the song in the album. Every album's got one for me. Few beers, helicopter heat, lie on the couch, earphones on. I need something just to kind of just to help me. And this is the song, and it's got dark and it's haunting in bits. I didn't know Josh Homme was on this at all, but you can now listening back, you can hear. I was trying to work out what tune. I heard he was on it, but I was trying to work out what tune he was on. I actually thought it was Walking in the Snow he was on because of the guitar bit at the start, but yeah, and the Mavis Staples. Is Mavis Staples like a old school 60s soul singer?
Yes.
Yeah, so the Staples singers.
Yeah.
You know them.
Getting back to the late 50s and then early 60s.
Aye. What a voice. I take it, is that live then? That's her live singing, or is that a sample?
No, I think that's her really.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's really cool on it. Aye.
Yeah, really good. So I gave it an 8 as well. So I think that's one of our highest scoring tracks.
Phenomenal.
Pulling a pin, 8.5. So that is our favourite track of the album. Excellent. Yeah,
I'm really glad of that.
Just was 8.
That makes me happy.
Ooh La La was 8. Just was 8. 8.5 is one of the top tunes in the whole podcast, isn't it? 8.5 is a high score. That's up there in the top 20 of all songs we've played out of all the albums we've listened to. Okay then, so the final track of the album is A Few Words from the Firing Squad. Let's play that. Here we go.
Notice that the worst of us have all the chips. It really kind of take the sheen of people getting rich. Like maybe rich is not the holy ever loving king or nothing. Fuck it, so we know you're bluffing. You are dealing with a motherfucking money. Run!
Another crack. I mean, I think this will go well. Great song to finish the album. Audrey, we'll come to you.
How good was that picture of them that you had for that?
Yeah.
The big Killer Mike, he looks so jolly. Yeah, again, it's a 10 for me on this one. I think it follows Pulling the Pin like really, really nicely, like sonically. I think it goes into it like really smoothly, and I think it continues that cinematic feel that's been kind of developing throughout the album. I love the way it keeps building and building. There's probably a name for that, and you're just like kind of listening to it for the first time. I'm kind of like, where's it going? Where's it going to go? And then the sax is kind of creeping in, which is quite jazzy. And I know that LP's dad was like a jazz pianist, and he actually made a jazz album like a few years ago, kind of like influenced by his dad. So I think that's sort of just another. Oh, is that my noise or yours?
No.
Oh, I think my earpods are running out of battery. I've got one ear. Okay, speed it up. So yeah, I think like having that jazz element into it is basically the only thing that's not featured in the album so far, because we've had like rock, we've had a bit of that kind of reggae dubby feel, and all kind of different sort of minimal sounds, big sounds, and I think putting that jazzy sound in there is quite nice. I like when the drums come in. I feel like some of it's a wee bit kind of like Money for Nothing, like some of the kind of scatty drum fills, which is quite cool, quite 80s, because I love my roto toms. And yeah, I just love the way it's building, and it gets my heart racing to be like, where's it going, and then it kind of cuts, and I think that's actually the best place that it could go, because it just gives you a wee bit of time to just think about what you've just experienced. So yeah, a 10 for me. I think that's another brilliant track, and I think it's a perfect finish to an incredible album.
Excellent. Come to you, Tommy.
Yep, nice way to end the album. I've got it's kind of an atmospheric. Spit it out and you can read it. That's atmospheric and cinematic into it. There's that kind of crescendo of rage coming through as it builds and builds and builds and builds, and you go, this can't go much higher. It can't go much higher, and you go, and it keeps going, and then it comes in with that Yankee and the Brave thing about the two. Like, what is this? Where did this come from? It's like. We went to the Dukes of Hazzard or something. Come on, but obviously the story for the beginning of the album and whatever. But I've given it a 7.5. But I gave the Yankee and the Brave thing a 6 because I thought it was like a hidden track or something, because it's totally different from everything else. You think this is the end of the album? See if they'd ended the album at that kind of boom, it'd have been great. But I really, this other bit is kind of at the end is kind of maybe. Is it added to it? Is it 10? I'm not too sure. I'm on the fence whether it should have been there or no, but I don't know. It's a nice wee add-on, I think. As I say, 7.5 for that final track, Scott.
Yep. I gave it a 7. I liked I put in great tone. I think it was the tone of the rapping in it again, which stood out more. For that, I loved the saxophone bit. I put cinematic as well. It's got that very cinematic feel, and as a full album, it's really, really clever how you've went for. Like, I'm just looking at the tracks. It's like Hello, the Yankee, the Brave at the start, and Ooh La La and Out of Sight they're all the same kind of feel, the same kind of right. We're here. This is our new album. And then starting at Goonies VET to maybe Just, it kind of changes direction just a wee bit, and then pretty much we put the last two pulling the pin and the last song that there, a few words for the firing squad. It changed again to the kind of like cinematic. You've got all kind of types of hip hop and production there, but I think the production in this is great. I like the drum sound. See that kind of where it's just sitting like back there, just where the dug is. Did you hear it, Lila? It's just like it's quite clever how they do that. Like the drum sounds back there. So I gave it a 7, and that gives us a score.
Oh, well, I'll get a shot now.
Oh, sorry, Andy. Sorry.
I'm not interested in what you're going to say anyway, Andy.
Sorry. Anyway.
I'm just going to agree with every single one of these, because the first thing I thought about was just video game written all over it. But in saying that, then I was listening to it all, and the music in this is phenomenal. Everything, it's everything you want in a song. Like, it's bizarre. It's like you always want to have a saxophone, but you can never find a saxophone player. But that's in there. Do you know what I mean? It's a saxophone. Any song with saxophone is brilliant, you know.
I don't know.
I've only you know what I mean. Everybody's got to love a bit of saxophone.
Nah.
You know, saxophone.
But look, great end to the album. Like, I was actually wanting more. See if like the last 3 songs, if they'd give me more of that again, then I probably would have been still. It would have went higher and higher for me. But I gave it an 8. I thought it was a brilliant track, magic track.
Excellent. Right, so Andy, your full album score was 6.78 out of 10.
Right.
Tommy, 7.5 out of 10 for your first hip hop album.
Right.
All right, I was
happy with that.
I was 7.6 out of 10 for hip hop album, and Audrey 8.91 out of 10. So that was your score. The full album, Pelikan podcast score is 7 point. It's not, because Andy changed.
Andy's ruined everything again.
I ruined everything.
Changed.
Wake up, Andy.
7.9 out of 10.
That's
album
decent.
is.
High score.
Okay, let me just run through the chart. I've not made one up tonight. I'll just run through the chart. Oh, there's my Valentine.
That was like Michael Jackson coming in there.
There's my Valentine. Don't know what she's away for. Hopefully a wee cup of coffee. Don't know. Right, so let's go through the chart quickly. Here we go. Where is it? I had it up. Okay, so it's number 30, Heathen Chemistry by Oasis. The Man Who, Travis, is at 29. Erratic Cinematic, Jerry Cinnamon, 28. Love, Death and Dancing, Jack Garrett, is at 27. Simple Minds, Sparkle in the Rain, 26. Duran, 7, The Ragged Tiger, 25. Regatta de Blanc by Police, 24. Event Tide by the Faith Brothers at 23. State of Things by Reverend and the Makers at 22. Bring Me the Horizons, Post-Human Survival at 21. Iggy Pop's Lust for Life at 20. The Whippoorwill by Blackberry Smokes at 19. Travis, Invisible Band at 18. Run the Jewels, RTJ4 is at 17 in our chart. Exile on Main Street, 16. Together Alone is at 15. Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette at 14. Billy Joel's Turnstiles is 13. Arctic Monkeys is 12. Whatever people say, I'm not. And The Strokes is This It is 11. The top 10, In Excess Kick. Joshua Tree by U2 is 9. Michael Jackson's Thriller's 8. Let It Be the Beatles 7. Nevermind Nirvana's 6. The Bends by Radiohead's at 5. Appetite for Destruction's at 4. What's the Story, Morning Glory 3. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band at 2. And still number 1 is Revolver by the Beatles. That's our top 30. We've done 30 albums. And it was very interesting, Audrey, earlier you were talking about you like listening to the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah, I love that album.
Yeah, I text next week's guest, Matt Hickman, Brown Bear, to give us an album, and he's picked Lauryn Hill's The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So that's next week's album.
Oh, that's definitely an easier listen than this as well. There's a couple of hooks in it.
Aye.
But,
so what do you think of
album.
that score then, Audrey? You're sitting 17 in my charts. A good score. I mean, a couple of points more, and you would have been up nearer the top 10 as well. So I think it's really good.
I think that's great. See, for like the first hip hop album that you have done, and it's pretty hardcore. Like it's not like a totally commercial sort of hip hop album. And given that it's 4 people with very different tastes in music, so yeah, I think you'll probably find like when you listen to it a wee bit more, you'll probably end up you would maybe even rate it a wee bit higher. Like the more you hear it. I think
I definitely would. I know that for a fact.
Okay then, Audrey, we're going to play a tune from The Girl Who Cried Wolf, and it's called Out of It, and it's a studio session from your new band. But before we play it, Tommy's going to ask you a wee question to think about while the song's going on, and it's the final question of the podcast that creates a wee bit of discussion. But Tommy, you ask the question and I'll get the song ready.
I'm hoping to interview Audrey one day. This is going to ruin it for me. But anyway, Audrey, you, whatever band you wish, are headlining an event, and I'm looking for 3 support acts and a venue. So you can have a wee think about that.
Okay, 3 support acts and a venue.
Yeah, three support act and a venue. Is it going to be the Girl Who Cried Wolf or Hector Bizerk or whoever you want to be the headline act? It's yourself playing the drums.
So I'm headlining. Yeah,
you are the headliner. That's fine, whatever. No, it's just you.
Okay. Right, I'll think.
Okay. Think about that, pal.
Here we go then, and this is The Girl Who Cried Wolf, Audrey's new band with Lauren. What was the band Lauren was in before?
Lauren was in a band called Bella and the Bear, which is a kind of acoustic band. Yeah.
Very good. Band. Okay then, so this is Out of It, and it's a studio session.
I'm frightened, I'm fighting all my darkest parts. I tighten and hope this feeling doesn't last. My arms and eyes are empty. The monster in me's feeling frail. I'm stranded on land without a boat to sail. No one said it was okay you took part of me when you left. No one said it was okay you keep changing channels in my head. No one said it was okay that you take a part of me when you bailed. No one said it was okay now I'm trapped without a boat to sail. No one said it was okay. 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 No one. I'm hurting. Take my hand for your curtain call. Lap up the roar, bow for your crowd to thank them all. My arms and eyes are empty. The monster in me's feeling frail. I'm stranded on land without a boat to sail. Can anybody hear me? Hear me? Anybody but you? Can anybody hear me? Hear me and come to my rescue? Can anybody hear me? Hear me and come to my rescue? Can anybody hear me? Anybody but you? This is my man, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth is mine, get your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my mind, get out of it. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're out of it. There's still me, still you, just not us. This is my mind, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth is mine, get your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my mind, get out of it. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're out of it. There's still me, still you, just not us. This is my mind, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth is mine, get your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my mind, get out of it. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're out of it. There's still me, still you, just not us. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? No one said it was okay you take part of me when you left. No one said it was okay you keep changing channels in my head. No one said it was okay that you take a part of me when you bailed. No one said it was okay now I'm trapped. This is my mind, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth is mine, get your words out of it. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my mind, get out of it. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're out of it. There's still me, still you, just not. This is my mind, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth is mine, get your words out of it. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my mind, get out of it. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're out of it. There's still me, still you, just not us.
Wow, man.
Fantastic. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yay.
Was that the right answer? Sorry.
Correct, you passed. You passed.
That is phenomenal, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. It's funny because obviously that after everything we're talking about, we run the jewels like that. Like that's from we released 2 EPs last year, and the second EP, the first EP was kind of like alt pop, kind of minimalist electronic, and then the second EP was a bit more in your face because I'd been listening to Run the Jewels for 2 months. So we were kind of joking, calling ourselves Run the Gals, and like Lauren basically is I think one of the finest MCs in Scotland, and she doesn't even know it. Like that's just kind of what came out. But yeah, that's heavily inspired by the album that we've just been talking about.
It just looks like it's natural to her. Like
I know.
it just like, I actually speak like I don't even know how to describe. I think that was absolutely phenomenal. And see when the drums just kicked in there, I was like, it just took it to a whole new level again.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
It just see drum wise as well. It just shows with your drumming as well in a song. Drummers can get like too into a song. Sometimes I think they can go over the score. And the start of that was just nice, like just playing on. I don't know the name of the drums. I don't know. Was that a tom you were playing on it?
Yeah,
first?
yeah.
Like tom's important in drums as well, because a lot of drummers go like hi-hat, snare, and it makes the song sound tinny when you're wanting that kind of bass going through it, and that's really it, and then it kicks in. But again, like the Run the Jewels drum, remember the drum was in the back of your head, like like the production where you had the out of it singing back at the back of your head, and then there was something coming in my right ear, very Beatlesy, and then left ear kind of thing, which is pretty cool.
We kind of like to mess about with that sort of side of things, because you're sort of recording without, again, to mention it again, but because you're not really thinking about the live situation, like you're kind of like, well, let's just sort of put everything into the recording. But that was funny, like to work out the drum part for that, because it was everything was programmed on that song, so it was apart from there was like percussion in it, like I think the roll toms made it and timbales, but I'd never played it on a kit, so I was like, right, okay, so how do I play that many layers of drums on one kit? So it's a really good challenge. Like
I'll give you a challenge. I'm going to send you one of your songs called Anchor Lane that we did, that we produced it and got it out there, and it's out and it's on Spotify and all that, but I'm still no 100%, like there's still something could happen with that. I'd love to just send you it and you to go and do whatever you want with it.
Please
do whatever you want with the song, and even just remix it and do it, and let's hear what it sounds like, because do you get what I mean, Andy? There's a few sounds in the production, like and coming from a different ear. Like, I mean, obviously you can keep my vocal if you want, because it's absolutely amazing. But
see how I feel.
It would be good just to send the basis of it, and then just go. You could maybe hear, right, this is maybe where he's looking to go with that, or they're looking to go. We're going to take it this way. I think it's interesting to do that. Just the basis of the song's there. It's already out, but it would just be good to see how you would. You don't need to release it in it, but just to see how you would.
I'm always up for a remix as well. So definitely.
Sorry, Scott, my head's still on that other song, man. That it's just absolutely blew me away. But I had bass lines in my head and everything there. It was like one of the ones. It was just like it was brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I just.
And you really should check out the 2 EPs. You really should check out the 2 EPs that the girls have put out.
Oh no, I will. No, definitely.
Really is fantastic music.
I remember when we first, I'd said about getting. I think I'd messaged you, Tommy, to like. I was quite conscious of the fact, Audrey, that we'd only had. We needed more females on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? And I'd messaged Tommy to say, does any of you guys know Audrey Tait, the drummer for Hector Bizerk? Because I'd seen a few things of you, and me and my wife and my wee girl were at a gig you played, and we just went totally off the cuff to the Burns
oh my God,
memorial thing, which was just basically a stage that was up, and it was like a spoken word type thing, but you went up and did your drums and played, and we were there, and my cousin for London was up, and I knew Simon for Small Town Audio was doing the sound, and that's where we first saw you, and me and my wife, and we were right into it. Like we were sitting around the front, and we couldn't keep our eyes off you and your drums, and the guy, who's the singer, the rapper. Louis, he was amazing, Matt, as well. Yeah. Like there wasn't that many folk there, but he didn't care. He was just. It was so great. He's played as if he's played the same way you would play if there was thousands of folk there. You know, it was really the energy was amazing, and we were just at the front loving it. So that's where I'd first saw you, and then obviously you had played with the Misses. You played at Pressfest a couple. You played at Elliott's as well. I remember you played in there. But, I think it was Connor that had got you down to play there. But that was great. So it's great to get you on. You've been absolutely brilliant in the podcast. Have you enjoyed it tonight?
Thanks so much for having me. And it's been great to just kind of chat with you guys and get an idea of like I just love talking about music and hearing, more importantly, hearing like what other people have got to say.
Can we replace Tommy with Audrey, no?
Yes.
We'll get Lauren on as well. We'll get her on as well, since she'll obviously have an album and a different take of things. She's had a good musical journey, especially where I've heard them, Bell and the Bear as well. I've heard of them. So, okay then. So Tommy, let's see what Audrey's answer to your Tommy Clark question is.
Come on now. Who's your three support acts and what's your venue?
Right, I was like, that was real panic thinking for me there. So I was kind of torn between the venues because I thought, do I go big and go like, where would I love to play, which is like a big festival like Primavera, because I've never actually been to it, but I think playing somewhere that's sunny. And my brother lives sort of just outside Barcelona, so I'm like, oh, I could actually play a gig that he would be able to come to. So it's considerate of the family. So yeah, I was like torn between Primavera and then somewhere like the Captain's Rest, which was like an old venue in Glasgow, which is closed now. And my free support.
It was a cracking venue.
That was such just any time I've played in it. It's just been that pure wee kind of sweaty
vibe.
Just so cool. So, but yeah, I'll go with Primavera goals, you know. And my three support acts are, so first one is the Staves. I don't know if you've heard of the Staves. So it's like three sisters that predominantly, well, they used to play they played mainly like acoustic. But they've just released an album last Friday. And see, to be honest, that would have been a contender to talk about. But I think doing the hip hop one was a bit more just a wee change for everybody. But yeah, I would highly recommend checking their new album out. So yeah, the Staves. My second support would be Haim, because if I was to play drums in any band, it would probably be Haim that I would love to play on. So I thought if they support, I can maybe do a little bit of chatters, be like, gals, if you're needing a drummer, I'm here, I'm ready. And the third support, I thought, if we're playing at Primavera anyway and we just want a big party and somebody a bit mental, I've picked Miley Cyrus, because she's somebody that I would love to see live, and I think she's amazing, but she's also off her rocker, and I think you would get a good laugh with her. So
she's been brilliant at the covers recently, hasn't she? She's been great at the covers. She's
insane, but I love her new album was one of my highlights the last year as well. So but yeah, so I thought, and it'll maybe up the old 50-50 at the festivals as well. So the Staves, Haim, Miley Cyrus, and the Girl Who Cried Wolf, of course.
Brilliant.
On the Saturday, on the main stage.
Can we have Audrey on when I do my album, so she can absolutely slate me? No, is that all right?
I need to get your album. What album are you? What album are you for picking?
I want to do Queens of the Stone Age. I do want to do Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh, do you? Right, cool. So I've done NXS, Tommy's done The Police, and you're wanting to do Queens of the Stone Age.
Either that is going to be Jamiroquai, Return of the Space Cowboy.
Go with Queens of the Stone Age.
What Queens of the Stone Age one?
It'll be Villains, probably.
That'd be good.
Like Mark Ronson, when they announced Mark Ronson was going to produce that, I was worried. I was severely worried.
He's a brilliant producer.
And then he brought it out, and I was like, wow. Absolutely. No, but I thought it was going to be like loads of saxophones and everything over the top, 8 trumpets. But no, nothing like that, mate, honestly. And it's the only album they've ever only played with their original drummer, because all the other albums, either Dave Grohl or who's the other one? Can't remember. Taylor Hawkins have played drums for them. Or the guy for Eagles of Death Metal. There's an air one I would like to do.
There we go.
Get a wee list one.
We're going to get to a stage, Audrey, where we're just going to pull out some top albums and then just invite guests back, 2 or 3 guests back to review them as well. So it'd be great to have you back.
Definitely.
But as I say, so Run the Jewels album this week sitting pretty at number 17 in my chart. So a very good score for a first hip hop album. I enjoyed the album this week. I enjoyed listening to it in the car. It took a while to get into, but as I say, there was one track there that had the Friday Home for Work tune, which was great.
Yeah.
I'll be adding it into my hip hop set. That was what was that? The Ground Below. I loved that. Tommy, what did you think? Are you happy with that?
An introduction to hip hop, in a way. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As I said, but as you say, Scott, it was difficult to get into it first, because all I heard was somebody shouting "fuck, fuck, fuck the motherfucker, fuck it," and I'm like, all right. But then as you go into it, you can start hearing the kind of more intricacies of the songs and whatever, and that's how I started to score it a bit higher. Yep.
Andy, you enjoy it?
I did, and you know, I've actually added like Pull the Pin into one of my playlists. So
yeah, I just added 3. There's 4 tunes get into my playlist. Yeah, for this album.
That and the Word from the Firing Squad, brilliant. You know, and I want to hear more of that.
Yeah. Audrey, you've been a great guest tonight. Absolutely brilliant insight to the tracks as well, which has really saved the day for us in some of them.
Definitely for me.
Good luck with your studio. We'll be sharing all the stuff your studio do. It would be good when the COVID's all over to book a slot in your studio and come up and kind of support you and come up and do a tune at your studio. And good luck with everything as well. Good luck in the future.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's been great. I've had a great time. So thank you.
We want you to come back, Audrey, as well. Don't
100% anytime. Give me a shout anytime.
So we're going to play out with one of Audrey's former bands and duo, ended up being a duo as well, Hector Bizerk, Skin and Bone. We're going to play out with this. So guys, join us next week, next Sunday. Matt Hickman, Brown Bear, The Education of Lauren Hill. Thanks again to our guest, Audrey Tait, Tommy Clark, and my main man, Andy Stratton. Good night, folks.
Speak to you later.
Thanks, guys.
Keep one eye on me like a cyclops. The other one's blacked up using eye drops. Time's up according to my watch. You couldn't walk a mile in my high tops. I'm off the planet till further notice. Not coming home till I build explosives with focus and a banking bonus. Diagnose the prognosis / to help and harness the homeless. Switch the phone off, I'm incommunicado. Unraveling the shadows, cause I don't want the hassle. The aging warrior that didn't want to battle Hector at the gates of Troy. But this isn't real, cause I do feel pain and I've no Achilles heel. A Grecian tragedy, a real apology. Get my story straight, like gods of Greek mythology. You need a policy, let standards increase. Fed man to the beast and kept the rancid receipts. Blame it back in expenses. Nobody ever retreats like lads in the trenches. I'm skin and bone, dressed in sweat. Molten so you've got no regrets. Frozen up, the gutter's edge. Still nobody's seen nothing yet in you.